everyone. Good morning. So good to see everyone today. I'm really happy for you to be here at this Ignite Business Series event, June 12th. This event is very special. To me, all Ignite events are special because they serve the greater community, and especially our local and small business owners. This particular event is focusing on micro businesses, and it also will focus on our local businesses because we do have a vending opportunity here to showcase some of our local and small businesses and everything that they're doing. And it's especially, I think, wonderful during the pandemic to see our small business owners. Micro businesses are very important, though they are a subset of small businesses. Research shows that they are the backbone of our economy. They provide opportunities, jobs, and profit to our local economy. And so today, we want to ensure that we support our micro businesses. Two of the areas research says that micro businesses need assistance in is financially and also in terms of marketing. So today we have speakers available for you to show you and provide information in those two areas. The first person and speaker we have with us today is Mr. Jeff Hammer, and I'm going to read his bio. Jeff Hammer, firmly believing that people value differences and not similarities, Jeff's career has frequently enjoyed taking the road less traveled. His national financial planning practice integrates personal, business, and philanthropic financial planning with a focus on positively impacting 1 million people through the planning executed with his clients. While Jeff maintains his ongoing role with Northwestern Mutual as a wealth management advisor and fee-based financial planner, he also operates a national consulting firm, Hammer Forte Consulting. The consulting firm specializes in plan giving and asset management for nonprofits, business transition planning, and intellectual property planning. Jeff has a prior background in leadership of he has a prior background in leadership of Department of Defense organizations for the world's largest supply chain, management of multiple IT divisions for Department of Defense and Capital One, mergers and acquisitions for Capital One, direction of multiple enterprise-wide initiatives for Fortune 100 size organizations, and engagement with C-suite leadership in Fortune 500 businesses, nonprofit, military, and government organizations. Their teamwork has spanned industrial ranging from faith-based, software, OWL, defense, natural resources, energy, legal, marketing, music, publishing, movie, TV, arts, healthcare, professional sports, medical, manufacturing, chemistry, materials, data, lending, payments, climate change, finance, education, electrical, import, export, franchises, and social services. Jeff also has his BS and MBA from the University of Virginia Beach. Now at this time, let us welcome Mr. Jeff Hammer.
Well, it is my pleasure to be here, and can you hear me okay in the back of the room? All right, thank you so much for the folks manning the sound. And Councilwoman Wooten, thank you so much for the invitation. It's our honor to be here. And first of all, I have to ask, so how many of you here are glad to be out wearing something other than sweatpants? All right, so I hear you. Well, and yes, my last name is Hammer. So quick story. So about 4 years ago, I got the opportunity I'd been waiting a lifetime for. So I was invited to serve as the master of ceremonies at an event. So yes, I did get introduced as MC Hammer. So I enjoyed my walk across the stage there, but no elevator, the parachute pants there. So, but yes, it is my honor to be here. And as we take a look at the presentation, some of the key things there. And let's see, is that, thank you so much. So one of the key things that we're going to be looking at is how do we take a look at those things that you as a business owner are facing. So what are those things that are front of mind for you? A lot of times you have those moments that wake you up in the middle of the night saying, okay, we forgot about this, or we got to take care of that. And so some of these key kinds of questions you'll see, how do you take care of those great employees? Now, right now, you may be the owner, the employee, chief cook and bottle washer, you may be carrying all of the roles. But also, as you look for where your business is going to go, as you find those key critical folks, you want to make sure, how do I retain them? Because they are indispensable. As you find those great folks, depending on the complexity of the career field that you're in. So for example, Victoria, I think you mentioned that you're going in some of the computer science and STEM related fields and so forth. As we look at those, some of those are incredibly complex, and they may take months or years to find that next replacement who's going to have that skill set. So that's part of what we want to look at is, do you have time for that training curve, that learning curve? What are those financial shock absorbers that you can build into your plan that can make that all sustainable? And the other thing there as well is if they are a talented employee, somebody else is going to notice they're a talented employee. So will your competitor down the street say, hey, look, I'd love to poach that particular individual. So how do you retain them? And so we'll talk through some of that. I think as well, some of the other key things that you'll see there is also understanding how do you, again, back to that idea of financial shock absorbers, how do you build in those cushions against the potential lawsuit, the potential downturn, the COVID types of experiences that happen? How do you pivot? And I know there's been some great vendors here that have talked about some of the things that as far as how you can pivot in your businesses. I know Latrece is going to be talking a bit about some of those concepts. And as we look at those, some of the things that we're going to see there are how do you build in those cushions that can say, how do you brace against that? So for example, one of those things has to do with your business liability coverages. One of the things that one of my colleagues said at one point early on in life when he was still in college, he was approached by one of these businesses that said, hey, look, if you go to door and you sell these particular things, you can be a millionaire. Well, he said, sure enough, the story was he went door to door. It was middle of the winter, slipped on the ice, fell on somebody's steps. That's how he became a millionaire through that business. Probably not the plan that they were looking at, but it was a path forward. So, but also, part of what we see there, another one of those key constraints that I know we all as business owners face is how do you get enough time? How do you find the clones of yourself to be in as many places at once? And at some point, part of the reason you're going down that path of running your business is you'd like a little more latitude. You'd like that flexibility to say, I want to be involved with my family, with some of the pursuits that I enjoy, some of the philanthropic things where I want to give back. How do you find those time leverage points? And so we'll touch on that as well. And also making sure you have that insulation to cover expenses if there is the interruption. And then also, we'll talk through again some of the things about protecting the business, but also as we look at that, some of the key things that we're seeing is as you're looking at protecting your business and how things intersect with your personal finances, you can be in that sweet spot of being both employer and employee. There are things that you can grant to yourself as an employer that you can give to yourself as an employee, things that have some certain tax preferences to them, things that can serve dual purposes. And as we look at that, that's going to be the key components of a strategy is as you find all these things, you don't necessarily have to get a lot of best ofs because what happens there is it's kind of the analogy of, from your financial planning perspective, it's like getting the performance handling of a Lamborghini, the hauling capacity of a dump truck, and then the fuel efficiency of a Prius. Put them all together, they're not drivable. They're all pretty good things on their own, but drivable, they're not. And so that's where we take a look at how can you get all of those things in alignment so that now you can reduce that friction and have things serving multiple purposes as efficiently as possible. So as we look at that, would love to hear just a couple quick comments. What are some of the things that keep you awake at night? And feel free to speak up or stick a hand up. But would love to hear a couple things that are running through your mind. Yes, ma'am. Taxes, absolutely. Yep. Yes, ma'am. Getting your business noticed. Yep, that's what I know. I think after the break, there's going to be some good conversations on the marketing front. So definitely some good content there. Yes, sir. Thinking about the dynamics of your business. Okay. Yeah, and how to build it as it's continuing to grow. Okay, great. Well, that's definitely one of those things, and we'll be talking a bit about some of the taxes. Definitely one of the things there is you do want to find those tax efficiencies. We're a firm believer. Pay the IRS what they're owed, but there's no need to tip them. And so as a result of that, how can you find those efficiencies that can enable you to do more, provide more jobs in the community, propel other folks forward so that you can enable your dream and theirs? Well, and some of those, we'll be touching on those key areas of concern, identifying your goals and concerns, planning for the unexpected, and how to keep the plan evolving. Because the reality there is things are going to evolve, and we want to make sure that things fit where you're at. So if you're in a startup mode, it's a very different stage than when you're in a high growth mode, or if you're in more of a maturity mode, or as we're seeing with about 40% of businesses, there are folks that are in that sort of exit stage because a lot of the baby boomers are retiring. And over the next 3 to 5 years, 40% of those businesses are expected to transition. And one of those roles are the key business advisors that should be part of your team. And how do you add those folks? And so as we look at that, some of the key things, kind of looking at that yellow ring there, you should have those key folks or start to get to introduce to those folks that can be of service to you. So for example, this young lady I met in the front row has an accounting service, and having that kind of CPA qualification is necessary to say, how do I stay on top of the taxes? How do I manage some of the expenses going forward? But also things such as how do you have those lending relationships? So how do you get those kinds of capabilities? And so I know one of the other ladies out here also had a business that takes a look at how you manage your credit score and things like that so that you have good access to credit. I think also having that attorney. There are certain documents that you can probably get a good start with on LegalZoom, but as things get more complex, you really need an attorney to take a look at the nuances of that. For example, one of the key things we see is, especially if you're in business together. So let's say, for example, Kevin and I are in business together, and now all of a sudden, I get hit by the proverbial truck. Well, in that particular case, Kevin is now in business with my wife and kids. I think they're amazing. Kevin may say they're going to be terrible business partners. And as a result of that, he may say, how do I make sure that they don't take the business down with them? And that's exactly a scenario we ran into with a gentleman that he was a mechanic, a very skilled mechanic. His wife was a florist, had half a dozen florist shops. She got an unfavorable diagnosis. She's terrified because she wanted to make sure the value of the business was protected for their family. He's terrified because he's a great mechanic. He doesn't know the first thing about flowers. Her business partner's terrified because he doesn't know the first thing about flowers or how to run the business. So we want to make sure that the attorneys are there to say, how do you make sure that those exit ramps are funded in the event that anything goes either favorably or unfavorably as far as a business transition. And the key thing there is there's about a dozen different ways you can leave a business, some planned and some unplanned, some favorable and some unfavorable. Part of that kind of planning goes into what happens in the event of death or disability. What happens in the event of you get the great offer? How do you know it's a great offer? Is it a lowball offer that you should politely run away from? Is it something where it's crazy money, you should take the money and seriously think about running with it? Or is it something that's a fair offer and say, hey, look, I need to weigh my options on this. Is this how I want to exit my business? Is it something you want to leave to your heirs? Is it something that you want to give some of it to charity? There's a lot of different ways you can leave a business. How do you make sure that it's protected? And so all these factors tie together. And when you have that integrated strategy, now it gives you that real capability to understand, if we pull the string over here, is it something that's releasing the parachute and making sure everything's safe, or is it unraveling the sweater because everything's interconnected? Okay, great. Now, as we take a look at that, again, one size does not fit all. In the same way that I would never go to my dad's closet and my kid's closet. My dad is taller than I am. My kids have a bit more muscle than I do. I'd like to refer to it as I have that chiseled Velveeta physique. They're much more muscular. And as a result of that, I wouldn't try to assemble my outfit from their closets. Same thing is true. Not one size is going to fit all. And some of the key things there that we want to look at is, first of all, how do you minimize the risk? And some of those key risks that as we take a look at that, some of the key things we want to see are which risks do you want to retain and which ones do you want to transfer out. Now there are some lower key risk, for example. So if you try a particular ad campaign and it doesn't work, if that's something that has not been a financial overcommitment, it's worthwhile to test some of those ideas. But what are those catastrophic things that, should they happen, the business is now severely threatened? Now, the good thing with that, a lot of those kinds of risks are things that can be shifted away for pennies on the dollar. That's the role of insurance, whether it's liability insurance, whether it's life insurance, disability insurance. A lot of different insurance solutions can help transfer that risk away for those low probability but high impact risk. But again, others you may elect to assume. And as we do that, some of the key things there is, if you have a physical presence, property insurance, hands down, is something you ought to have. Business liability insurance for the folks like my colleague who, jokingly said he fell down the steps and made his $1 million. The challenge is we're in a litigious society, and it is something where accidents happen, things that are unplanned happen, and you want to make sure you've got some insulation around that. That can also go to your legal entity type. That's a whole other conversation of how do you build in layers of protection around your personal assets from your business assets. But also some of these things here, we've talked about some of the liability coverages, but you'll see down at the bottom there's these different types of insurance. And for example, we all know that doctors have to carry malpractice insurance just because with the number of folks they work on in a lifetime, there's just no way that everything can necessarily stay consistent. And so as a result, they have to have that insurance in place. Well, the same thing is true. Is there are different types of malpractice insurance that can be called your professional liability insurance, or for example, it may be called errors and omissions insurance, your employment practices, and if you have, as you continue to expand, you may have directors and officers. Those are key insurances that you'll want to explore, especially as your business gets going. Oftentimes you may be able to get a sizable amount of coverage for a couple $100, and it's a great way to shift $1 million or $2 of risk away for a small price. Now, one of the other ones is key person coverage. So true story, we were doing some business about 5 years back with a phenomenal individual who's doing some research at one of the state universities, some fantastic cancer research where he had identified a capability to deliver new pharmaceuticals that would actually not necessarily radiate all someone's body, but actually have a delivery that was localized to where the cancer cells were. Unfortunately, this gentleman, before his planning could be finalized, he ran a 10K for charity. Later that afternoon, had a heart attack and passed. He was the brain trust. All the ideas were in his head. 2 months later, that business was out of business, and as well as the great work that he could have accomplished for just a wide number of folks. So whether it's for folks that may be disabled, may pass away, or just, again, if it's something that can be used as a retention strategy, we did some work with another pharmaceutical company where they had a chief medical officer, and her role was going to be pivotal. Again, she was the brain trust, and they needed to make sure that they made it clear to her she was very much valued in that business so that she ended up staying on board. And something as well, we won't go deep into statistics, but just some of the key things there. A lot of folks, especially if you see buy-sell agreements and operating agreements, quite honestly, about 80% of businesses we see do not have a buy-sell agreement. And now if you're on the front end of starting off, this may be something that you don't necessarily need your first year or so. But I'd say probably by year 2, you want to be thinking about this. If you're starting to get some momentum with your business, you really want to have that buy-sell agreement. And basically what that buy-sell agreement does is that says, let's say if Karen and I are in business together, then Karen has that right to buy me out. And now she has the funding mechanisms in place. So that's the other part we see is 80% of the businesses don't have a buy-sell agreement. And then 90% of the ones that do have a buy-sell agreement, it's completely unfunded. And so as we look at that, if we don't have that funding in place, how do we execute that? My family's coming to Karen saying, where's the check? And Karen now needs to be able to say, okay, well, we've got that check funded through insurance, through lending vehicle, through some other means, some trade-off. And so key thing there is there's about 33,000 different ways someone can become disabled. I don't mean to rain on anybody's parade. But it's just the reality. And whether that's illness, whether it's genetics, whether it's just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, things happen, and so we want to build in those cushions around that. Now, some of the other things as well, that key person insurance, and that can protect those revenue streams. So again, I'm going to pick on Victoria for a second. So let's say Victoria is on my team, and she's the top salesperson, and she's driving 70% of all the revenue. I want to make sure Victoria is very, very happy because I need her to stay. And if something came that interrupted that, I want to make sure I've got that capability to either keep her covered, for example, in the event of a disability, or I can find her replacement if she decides, hey, look, she's starting her own business. How do I bring that person in? Because they're going to have a critical skill set, and I may need to pay a premium for that. And some of the other things, the last one there is business overhead expense protection. This, again, is something that you can add. It's usually quite cost effective, but that's something where, let's say if you do have a physical presence, so there's a rent bill, there's a utility bill, you may have some ongoing staffing funding that you need to accomplish. There's a lot of different expenses that are going to come in month after month, year after year as you run a business. Things like disability overhead expense protection can cover those and keep those bills paid if you have a key person that's going to be out for a while or yourself. Okay. Now, I know this chart's going to be a little challenging to read, but one of the things there is what we're really looking at is how do you take a look at what are those different needs of a startup? So for example, a startup typically does not come out of the gate offering a 401k. You're busy running the business and saying, how do we grow it? How do we build it? How do we get momentum? But as you start to get to that growth stage and you're looking for those first 3 or 5 employees, they may be looking for some type of retirement plan. They may be looking for health benefits. They may be looking for these other things. You may need them yourself as a self-employed individual. Well, these are things that we would want to run through the business. Also, we want to take a look at, again, how do your personal financial goals align with those of your business? And as we look at that, these can be some key things, for example, as you look at folding in a retirement plan. That can be a strategy that, first of all, potentially defers some taxes until later on as you put in place an employer-sponsored retirement plan. But similarly to that, part of what we would see is as we look at folks' needs in retirement, they're going to have a need of both recurring income as well as also lump sum liquidity. Because if you think about it, retirement's going to be somewhat similar to what we have now. There's a lot of bills that keep coming in. We still like to eat, we still have utilities, still have maybe rent or mortgage. There's going to be health insurance. All these kinds of bills are going to keep coming in month after month, year after year. Well, some of the changes that are happening in this particular space is you can now start to fold pension-like vehicles inside of your own retirement plans, whether that's a 401k or other types of plans. So that way, in addition to whatever you may get from Social Security, or if you're fortunate enough to have a pension from somewhere you've worked, you can now stack on a third recurring paycheck. And that gives folks an awful lot of confidence as they're going through retirement, because we can almost pick them out in a crowd when we have conversations like this. They almost are like hands behind their head, feet on the table, kind of relaxed, because they're like, doesn't matter, there's more money coming next month, and it's bottomless. Now, at the same time, one of the things that we see there is you are going to have that need for for lump sum liquidity, because there is going to be that time where you got to replace the roof. You're going to get the next car. You're going to take that trip to Australia. Whatever those big ticket things that are going to happen, you may have weddings that you're paying for. That's part of what we also want to build in and say, okay, so when you need $20,000, if the roof's leaking today, you don't want to wait and save up all these paychecks. You need $20,000 today to go fix it. And so that's where we look at finding how do you get that right balance and how can you build that within your business so that you have both recurring income and also that liquidity that you need. But again, as we talked about, that whole aspect of thinking through what is your exit strategy, that's going to be part of what we're looking at as well with a comprehensive planning process, is to say, how do you leave? And I know Latrece has some additional information on what that exit planning can look like for you if you're with a current business right now or if you're looking at your future exit. But how do you leave? Because one of the key things there as well is we have to factor in, again, a lot of those different favorable and unfavorable exits. What happens if you get the offer you want? What happens if you leave it to your heirs? What happens if there's a divorce? Unfortunately, if folks are fighting over the china, they're going to fight over the business. And so that's something where we got to plan that and say, how do we make sure that each of those exit ramps is already pre-built, and it makes it much easier that way. And now, by having that comprehensive viewpoint, then one of the things we encourage you to do is bring together each of those key advisors. So have that banker, have that accountant, have the attorney, have a financial planner sit down with you and say, how do I have a coordinated strategy? Because the key thing there is, and those professionals should be open to having that conversation jointly. Because the last thing you want to do is be playing the telephone game of saying, here's what I thought I heard from the accountant. And, it's like me trying to explain, here's what the neurologist said and saying, okay, now let me convey that to the cardiologist. And then, the dentist needs to know something completely different. Like, those are none of my specialties. I can't convey that well. So get them all in the same room. And that way also it gives you a nice checks and balances approach where by having folks from different firms, from different vantage points, now you can get great insights. So for example, because we don't work together, I now have an accountant that keeps me in check and says, hey, look, Jeff, solid idea, but that's going to blow up their taxes, or the attorney's going to say, hey, we can do that, but we need to do it within this trust strategy because now that builds the insulation we need around it. All these different folks play together, and now they can give you a coordinated strategy in the same way that a football team does not have just an offensive line coach. They have all the position coaches and everything else. Everything's got to come together as a strategy. So that's what we'll be looking at there. And again, they will guide you through each of those different stages, startup, growth, maturity, and then whatever your future exit plan is going to be, so that you have a plan that evolves and moves with you. So that's the idea there is, you know, there's going to be a need for some insurance coverage. There's a need for some financial planning. There's a need for some lending planning. There's a need for those key hire strategies of who do you bring on board and when, and at what price tag, and how do you incent them to stay. And then how, again, does this benefit you, your family, and the causes you care about? Because that's also one of the last pieces that I'll leave you with is that 61% of consumers want to see that the people they're doing business with actually care about something. You know, and so whatever that particular cause is for you, feel free to promote that and speak out on that and say, hey, here's something I stand for, you know, and this is something that I want to propel forward, because honestly, folks, by and large, want to do business with people who have a conscience and who want to do some good in the world. And that's been part of our team's mantra, is to say, look, what if we could impact 1,000 folks, 1,000 organizations that can touch 1,000 people? Your businesses can do that. You know, if you think about the number of folks you may work with in a year's time frame, and now you look at that over the years and decades that you may have in that business, what kind of an impact can you have? Those folks are going to care about they're going to be interested in knowing what you care about, and you can also model for them how they can propel it forward, because that's one of the great conversations we enjoy having with folks is, what's that one thing you've always wanted to do? How do you unleash that? How do you release that capability to have that impact that only you are meant to have? And that's the great thing you can have as a business owner. And as Latrece and I were mentioning earlier, the great thing there is, you know, as you're running your own business, the great thing is, if you don't like the boss, you can look them in the mirror every morning and tell them what you think, and then get to work. All right. Well, questions from folks? Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah, so Latrece's question there was, how does the process work as far as how do you kick this kind of planning process off? And some of the great things there are, thank you, some of the great things there that as we're looking at, we really want to sit down and honestly, most of our conversations start off with, tell us your story. Until we know where you've been, where it is you want to go, we'd just be trying to make, you know, it's the square peg, you know, round hole type of analogy. Your story is very different, you know. And even with the two of you being together, you know, your business is very different than yours. And so as we look at that, how do we make sure that everything fits? So what are those things you want to do short term? What are those things that you want to do midterm? What are those things you want to do long term? And then as we start to understand that waterfront, quite honestly, on our team, the last thing we start with is the financials, which may seem a bit illogical for why would a financial planner not start with the financial questions? Well, the reality is, everywhere you're spending your time, you're spending it in either that personal space or the professional space. You know, unless you happen to be, you know, fortunate to be in a rap video and, you know, wallowing on a bed full of money, most people aren't sitting there staring at the bag of money saying, here's what I'm going to do with this. I just want to look there and admire the bag of money. You want it to enable things. You want it to propel your business. You want to hire folks. You want to do some good in the world. You want to travel, whatever it is you want to do, take care of aging parents. That's what matters. The money's just a means of getting there. So once we know what matters to you, short-term, mid-term, long-term, and what steps have already been taken, then we can kind of align those and say, how do we make sure that if you have some things in place, these are still a great fit, how can they be accommodated? Or if it is just the wrong fit, back to the Lamborghini Prius, you know, dump truck example, then let's figure out how do we rearrange those things so that you can get efficiencies and not have competing strategies going. Thank you. Other questions? And I think she's got a microphone.
My name is Ev, and I had some questions about the internet, my website, and I was told by some of my clients that I need to have some kind of disclaimers and protective setups, and I was wondering if you knew anything about that, and if you could share any information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And your name was Bev? Is that? Ev, okay, thank you. Yeah, so in regard to that, I'll be honest, I'm not the attorney, but one of the things there are some certain things you will want to have on there. Usually a lot of websites are going to have privacy policies and things like that, and how their information is shared if they enter it on your website, for example. But definitely there are going to be some things that you want to have as some protective language on there. And I don't know, that may be something that's covered after the break with some of the marketing pieces as well. So thank you for asking. Okay, another question back here.
Thank I have a question about paying ourselves. How much when are we allowed to pay ourselves? What do we keep in the operating account, either during the growth and the maturity phase? What's a safe way to manage that cash flow?
Excellent question. Yeah, so that is something that a lot of business owners look at because it almost, you feel guilty almost in some cases, taking out a salary as you're trying to propel a business forward. And so some of the key things that we would look at there is you do need to pay yourself because otherwise it's kind of back to the oxygen mask, when you get on the plane, right? If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. And so part of what we look at there, there's an approach called a centralized savings strategy that we work with folks on to say, as funds come in, how do we set that baseline of what do you need to cover your monthly expenses? So let's say you need $4,000 a month. Then how do we make sure that that's coming in? And let's say, some months it's $4,000, but as an entrepreneur, you're going to have variable income. And some months it's going to be $3,000, some months it may be $18,000. So how do we start to set aside that reserve so you have at least 3 to 6 months worth of financial cushion in place? And the idea there is typically we encourage folks have about 2 or 3 months in the bank, just because if you ever have that overnight, I got to have it in 30 minutes kind of emergency, you can get to it in a hurry. But beyond that, if you think about it, when was the last time, if you needed $4,000 a month, when was the last time you needed $12,000 in 30 minutes? Probably not. Or as I jokingly say, unless you have a bookie, you probably don't need it that fast. So if that's the case, then part of what we would look at is to say, how do you then say, what do I do with the excess cash? And that's where we start to say, do we put that in investment vehicles? Do you reinvest that back in the marketing campaign? And that's where we would look at, what are your unique profit margins for your business? Because let's say if it's more the grocery store type of model where, if you get 3%, that's a pretty good week. Versus the jewelry store model, if you get 80%, that's about normal. We can look at and say, how do we start to steer that and say, how do you get those leverage based on what are normal profit margins? And if you're on more of that 80% kind of model, you should differentially invest in your business. But we never encourage folks to go all in any one direction. So whether it's stock market, whether it's real estate, whether it's your business, have multiple eggs in multiple baskets. Grandma was right, that way. Inevitably something turns, pivots, and you need to have those other faucets you can turn off and on as need be. But then from there, after we kind of identify, what that normal income need is, and then we start to allocate every dollar past that. Part of that goes to the reserves, part of that goes towards reinvesting in the business, part of it may go into setting up your own retirement plan, building those shock absorbers we talked about. Maybe you're saving for a house down payment, whatever those different things are, funding your philanthropy. Now all these things can be carved out and say every dollar has a purpose once it gets beyond a certain threshold. And that way it feels like you've removed a lot of that variability of, is it whiplash of, hey, great month, horrible month, great month, horrible month. You can start to stabilize it. But great question. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much. I know y'all going to be in for a treat with Latrece and the other speakers as well. And I'll be around and happy to answer any questions on the breaks.
Well, Mr. Hammer, I know that you're not MC Hammer, but you certainly know how to hammer home those really important financial questions and information on planning for your business. So thank you for your presentation. I think it's really important for small businesses and businesses in general to understand that their business is an asset. And I know that you know that. But oftentimes when you're a micro business and you may be the sole proprietor, and you may have a few employees, oftentimes you may not see yourself as a very vital part of the economy, and you may not think about all the planning that goes into it. But as was mentioned before, it's very important that you have a plan and that you focus on the future. And if something happens for you, God forbid, you do have a strategy. And so next we're going to move to a part of the program where we're going to talk about marketing for small businesses. And I call this session a breakout session for a reason. Because the speaker that we have coming up she has this passion just about seeing people prosper, pouring into business owners, and I've just observed her just passion for life. And so you're going to hear from Latrece Williams-McKnight, and I'll read her bio very briefly. Mrs. Latrece Williams-McKnight is the president and CEO of McKnight Williams and Associates, a leadership and business scaling consulting firm based in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. Latrece is a woman of purpose, passion, and vision. She has a unique gift and ability to see through you and walk right into your heart. Mrs. Williams-McKnight is one of the newest selected members of the National Small Business Association's Leadership Council, or NSBA. She is a certified life coach, trainer, and speaker, and a founding partner with the John Maxwell team. Latrece was invited to the elite Forbes Coaches Council in 2016 and has contributed to business articles in Forbes. She is a sought-after educator and training professional to many corporations and government agencies, and has taught and presented to numerous Fortune 500 companies. She is a co-author of 3 Amazon bestsellers, the latest, Courageous Enough to Launch. Others include Build Her Brand, Women of Influence, and A Woman's Worth. The struggles and triumphs of a successful mompreneur. Latrece is also the author of Make Me Over Again. This is the time forever, a story of her 320-pound life and transformation. Over the past 7 years, Latrece has seen her coaching business grow from 3 figures a month to now making over 7 figures a year. During the pandemic, her company secured over $1.2 million in government contracting. Again, $1.2 million. Very impressive. That's why we need you on that panel discussion when we're talking about contractings later. And so, Lioness, as we call her, Lioness Latrece, as known to her over 10,000 social media followers, is the fearless leader of women ready to roar, to grow themselves, then their business digitally. When working with Latrece, she aims for real success in your personal and your professional growth journey. And before Latrece comes up, I just want to make sure everyone knows if you would like to step over to the other room in Suite 5 to get refreshments or coffee, please feel free to do that because it is over there in case you're wondering. But without further ado, we will welcome Ms. Latrece McKnight.
Thank you. Well, this is marketing. I'm marketing. This is determination. But it's also persistence. Thank you. But in order for my marketing to work, I have to be creative. So it's determination, persistence, and creativity. I need y'all to say that with me, okay? Come on. Determination, persistence, creativity. Come on, y'all. I know it's morning time. Do y'all want y'all marketing program to work? Do y'all want to make money while you sleep? Do you want your business to grow? Okay, determination. Persistence. Creativity. Okay, they up this morning. Good. It is so awesome to see you all this morning. Again, my name is Latrece Williams-McKnight, and like she said, she gave an awesome introduction there. I was wondering who she was talking about. But I am so excited to be with you all today. And I want to share with you today effective ways to market your business online without spending money. Okay, what y'all like? What's that word? Free. Everybody like the free word, right? Okay, so I'm going to talk to you today about how to do this for free. For free. Okay? So let's go ahead to slide 1. Do I have the clicker? Where the clicker at? Oh, it's behind here? Oh, okay. Look, I like being in front of y'all. I like being up there with you. Okay? So, now if my phone stays, we'll be okay. This the clicker? Can you click for me? Oh, look, I love clickers. Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Okay. So, again, we want to talk about it being free. And like I said, as we all know, marketing our business to potential customers is a necessary part of having a successful business. That's what it's all about, right? Reaching your customers. The issue with traditional advertising, such as newspapers and radio and television ads, is that they can be really expensive, and may produce little or even no return on your investment. And I see them heads out there going, yes, okay? But advertising online may be a better option. You see, when you advertise online, you can actually keep track of the effectiveness, okay? You can actually see what's going on. You can get different statistics and analogies and everything that you would need to know if it's working or not, and you can stop it, okay? If it's an ad that's not going, you can put it on halt. Okay, next slide. So I want to tell you some free, everybody say free, free online marketing methods that you may want to consider in your business. But you got to do what? Have what? Determination, persistence, and creativity. Now I'm going to help some old heads out there. How many of y'all know that song, Who's Down with OPP? All right. Oh, see, she said, you know me. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So today I want you to be down with DPC. Okay, determination, persistence, and creativity. So who's down with DPC? Who's down with DPC? Who's down with DPC? Who's down with DCP? Everybody, right? That's what I'm talking about, right? So number 1, partner up with another expert in your field. Okay? See, consider joining forces with another brand. You can then offer a more sustainable product together than either one of you could offer alone. And what I mean by that, say you have a sandwich shop, but you don't sell dessert. Okay, the cupcake lady right down the street, right? Imagine you partnering with the cupcake lady, right? You give a coupon for her cupcakes, she gives a coupon for your sandwiches. What do you have now? A full meal. Okay, you got a sandwich and a cupcake. You got lunch and dessert, right? You can't beat that. The thing is, both of you win. And see, that's a lot of problems right now, even in small businesses. We don't realize that when you partner with somebody, you're stronger together. And so that's one of the things that I always have people to do is make sure that you're looking at other people in your field. Maybe they're not doing exactly what you're doing, but they're doing something that you can help each other with, right? Imagine a partnership with the sandwich and the breweries. There's a
Where'd the mic go?
Okay. Oh, wow, this one really does work well. Okay, well, I won't be able to be out there with y'all. I'm sorry. Y'all still love me? Okay, all right. Okay, so partnering with somebody, you can do that. Next, why don't you generate user-generated content? Encourage user-generated content. If for those of you who don't know what that is, user-generated content is when other people tell about your business and post it on social media and you use it. Okay, for a prime example, Starbucks, I'm moving again. Boy, this is something else. Keep me in my box. Y'all see, I can't stay in the box, right? But this is, for instance, this. Starbucks, during the holidays, when people go to Starbucks, right here. When people go to Starbucks, for instance, there was a young lady at Starbucks, and she was there with her friend, and they had the holiday Starbucks cups, right? And they're toasting to the holidays, right? Guess what Starbucks did? Took her post from Instagram and posted it on their website. Okay, would you rather read Starbucks content, or would you rather look at two ladies having a great toast at the holiday season? right? That's
Check,
what's
check.
called encourage user-generated content. Because when people see other people enjoying your product, guess what they want to do? Enjoy your product. Okay, so I want to encourage you to do that. Have people take pictures of what you're doing. Have people take pictures of your product. Have people reading your book and take a picture of it and put it online and talk about it. And if they're talking about it online, use their content. You just like screenshot and put it up on your site. Then guess what? You don't have to write the content for your website. Okay? Actually, also, I encourage you to actually put Facebook and your Twitter feeds on your website so that you can see what's going on and it's feeding on your website. There are all kinds of ways that you can do that as well. Next. She's going to give me a mic so I can walk. You know what? I just love y'all. Thank you. Okay? The next one, number 3, is affiliate marketing. How many of you are familiar with affiliate marketing? You can raise your hand. Okay, we have a few. Affiliate marketing is when other people sell your stuff, or you sell other people's stuff and get paid to do it. Okay? Affiliate marketing is just partnering with people when they actually want to sell your products. And when they sell your products, you give them a small commission. And you don't lose any money because you don't pay them unless they do what? Sell your product, okay? This is free stuff, y'all. So for instance, if these individuals are selling your products, they're making a little bit of money and you're making a little bit of money. And then you can also do the same for other companies. I have tons of affiliate marketing links. I'm an affiliate with Constant Contact. I'm an affiliate with an Equity Scheduler. I'm an affiliate with some other people that I can't share. I'm just teasing. But there are tons of people, and each day, I literally get clicks of how much money I made from these companies because a lot of my clients use the products that I sell, and then a lot of people that I know, and I share the information on Facebook. I'm also an affiliate with Amazon, and all of those things actually make me money every single day while I sleep, because I'm just posting a link and having other people who really need that information enjoy that content and that information. But it's called affiliate marketing. And you can do this as well with your company. You can partner with people or share that you want to be an affiliate. There's all kind of websites and information that you can do. You can actually log into a whole website and actually have that program that you actually put your information in, that you can be an affiliate marketer. I have a great tool called a survival guide for small businesses that has all that information in it, and you can get that today, okay? But number 4, be active on social media. I need that click one more time. Let me tell you, you can share funny or interesting images or videos. You know, a lot of us have Facebook pages or Twitter pages and Instagram pages, and if I went to it right now, it says that you weren't on there for 4 months or 1 month or 3 weeks, okay? But you gotta stay active. You gotta be in the forefront. And you could just share videos or images, and with all of the GIFs and memes right out there now, you can use one of them and just use those on your social media site with a few words. Okay, the next one, post insights and valuable information. Whatever things that are going on in your company, or not even in your company, but things that are familiar with your company, you can post that information. You can share a blog. You can share a news feed. You can share other things from other companies as well. It doesn't always have to be about you. Your clients are looking for resources of information, and you can share that on your site. Next one, let your audience know when you have a sale on your product. Followers coupons or discounts, and that's so easy to do now with Facebook and Instagram. They actually have the templates that you can use for couponing and all of those things where you can just post it right on your site. Encourage engagement by participating in discussions. Ask questions and answer theirs. A lot of times people will post things on your site and you don't respond. Just say, and they make it easy. Just say, oh, put a little heart. Just let them know that you are still there. But you have to engage with your clients as well. Just say thank you. Okay, next. Okay, run a survey, poll, or contest. Those are amazing. Running surveys and polls and contests on your Facebook pages, on Instagram, or any means. You can actually, if you have an email list, sending out a survey or a poll to your clients to ask them questions about what you need to change, what you can change to make things better, what do they like about your business. All of those things can be done by running those contests and those surveys. And guess what? You now acquire information about what things you need to do to make things right, and then you can send them back information about the new thing that you did in your business to make it right, and they get it, okay? Next, use free, what's the word? What's the word? Use free online tools. There are plenty of tools online that you can help your business with, okay? You can sign up for websites that will enable you to create free surveys, or you can use a free online service to send emails to your customers. And I listed some there. This is just a little stickler of how many free things are out there. MailChimp has free surveys and free emails where you can actually have up to 2,000 people that are on your list for free. I said the free word, okay? Then you have SendGrid. Then you have Email Octopus. You have MooSend. All of these things are free. Did y'all hear what I said? Free, where you can actually start to build your email list and send out information to your clients. Then you have BigCommerce, HostGator, Wix, Square One, Oracle NetSuite. These are all internet services that you can build free websites. I know a lot of you heard of Wix, right? Okay, you can build these websites, y'all. What's the word? But you have to have what? Who's down with DPC? I can't hear. Who's down with DPC? All right, you said it, okay? But you have to have determination, persistence, and creativity because the stuff is out there, okay? Next, change and reuse old advertisements. How many of you ever heard about repurposing things, okay? The thing is, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If it's already built, just use it again. Put some new tires on it, right? Okay? So rather than going through the expensive route of creating new articles with every marketing campaign, try reusing a part of the advertisement that worked well. A lot of times what happens to us as business owners, we don't evaluate our businesses. We don't take the time to sit down and figure out what's working and what's not working. But when you do that, you'll begin to see, you know what? Everybody liked that post. Let me redo that post. Okay, let me put a new date on it and let me put a new tweak on it, maybe change the colors a little bit, make it brighter, and reuse it. If it worked before, it'll work again. Okay? And this will save you a lot of money. Number 7, build your email list. I want y'all to say this and repeat after me real loud. My email list is gold. Say it one more time. My email list is gold. Okay, if people are visiting your website, okay, chances are good that they are interested in what you have to offer. So make a form available for them to join your site. We call these lead magnets, okay? You actually have a lead magnet on there where you're offering something, a tool that they can use, a service that they can use, where they in turn put their website in that list, on that sheet, and then it goes to you, and then you can send them information. I'm not saying blow their emails up, okay? But just send them maybe a weekly newsletter that you may have to share about your company. And then when products and services come up, as you're sending them and keeping in contact with them, they will in turn want to maybe connect with you. The thing is, we can't just send people an email when we're selling something. I'm going to say that one more time. We just can't send people an email when we're selling something. People don't buy products. People buy people. Okay, so if you're not connecting with these individuals and not having a relationship with them, they're not going to buy from you. But if you build your email list and consider them as gold, you will treat them as such. So remember that. Next, then create some video content. I know some of y'all can't stand them videos. Y'all see people all the time on Facebook Live and everything. But let me tell you, video content is incredibly important right now, especially these days when you have our younger generation that would rather watch a video than read a blog. okay? And so if you're trying to connect with people that are coming into society today and who are spending some money, we have to really engage with videos. And if you can create interest in videos, you'll create interest in your brand. And what you have to know out there is you just put video content in your Google search. There are tons of videos out there that you can use. Guess what the word is? I think they got it, Councilwoman. Okay? So for free. So if you want to see an immediate ROI, though, a return of investment, like for a special promotion, you may want to consider paying for an ad. You probably will, because it goes out to more people. You know, there is a lot of free out there. It is. But if you're first starting out and you want to get your feet wet, use the free stuff. But if it's a big promotion that you're shooting for, I would suggest that you do pay for an ad. Facebook has some great prices, okay, where you can reach thousands of people for probably about $10 a day. Okay, I literally did an ad in Facebook and spent about $5 and reached almost 6,000 people in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Okay, and the thing is that Facebook has a way for anybody familiar with Facebook ads? Okay, you know what they do then, huh? What's your name? Ev, isn't it cool how you can tell it where you want it to go? And how old you want the people to be, and what state you want it in, what country you want it in. We ain't playing. She knows. Am I telling the truth? And it's cheap. That's what, it's cheap. It ain't free, but it's cheap. And you reach all of those people with your ad, and the response back is amazing. Okay, so to consider that. Okay, if you're willing to work hard and have a good plan, there's no limit to how far you can take your small business. Luckily, there are many ways to increase your current cash flow and free you up from the threat of financial disaster. Okay, somebody said, I feel that. Okay, consider these strategies to increase your cash flow. Number one, collect feedback. Like I said, it's so important for you to collect feedback from your customers, okay? It's because what we need to know is what's working and what's not working. Don't you want to know that? I know I do, so that I can fix it. So it's so important for us to collect feedback, okay? It's like a spinning thing. I made this one cute. Okay, ask the client to fill out a quick survey, like I said, and to rate various aspects of your business. And then follow up with your clients with a phone call or email asking for comments about your products or services. And then talk to your clients in person and ask them how they feel about their experiences with your business. Don't just let them come in your store and buy your product. Why don't you say, hi, did you like that sandwich? Did you like that cup of coffee? Oh, how did you like that book? Okay, what's going on? What's happening? How's your family doing? Have some conversation. You remember, people buy what? People, okay? Remember, word of mouth is one of the best ways to advertise your business. Let me tell you, when Sally likes it and she tells her mama, and her mama tell her best friend, and then her best friend tell her best friend, and then Sally's mama tell her sister and her brother and everything and so forth, guess what's going to happen? They'll come because it's coming from somebody else. It's just like when we talked about generating user content on our Facebook pages or our websites. That's the same thing. It's just user content in the realistic time. Okay, Facebook and your website is digital, but you want that user content in person as well. Okay, this is another one that a lot of people don't do, and this is a hard one. Get rid of products that don't sell. I'm going to say that one more time. Get rid of products that don't sell. It's likely that you offer your customers a wide variety of products, but only a few of these products bring you a maximum profit. Well, the problem is when you have too much stuff, it's more likely that people will get frustrated and won't buy from you at all. The most frustrating thing could be is that you have a website full of products, but it's nothing that anybody wants. But if you notice that there's one thing that people really like you for, and they want to buy it, get rid of all the rest of the stuff and build your business around that one product. One of the things is this. If you own a nail salon, I'm just making this up. I don't know nobody like this, okay? If you own a nail salon and you're selling everything in that nail salon, okay, but nails, a lot of times people are not going to be amped to buy it all. Now you have this big warehouse that you're paying rent on, right? And you have it filled with all of this stuff that you got to take inventory on, right? And then you're not even hardly selling it. But do this. If you own a nail salon, get some T-shirts that say, I nailed it. Now that's that's a $1 million idea. I just gave somebody a really good idea. Okay, but you get some T-shirts to say, I nailed it. Sell the T-shirts that have to do with what you're doing in the business. You get what I'm saying? Okay, get rid of all the rest of the stuff. You don't need all that other stuff in there. Just sell the products that are working for what you do best. It's called branding. Okay, all of this is stuff that you can do. All you got to do is do what? Have determination, persistence, and creativity. Who's down with DPC? They got this thing. Oh, my goodness. Okay, go ahead. Next, sometimes a large inventory can work against your business, like I just said. Okay? And then I said this, instead of offering more products that are more likely, see, I jump ahead of myself sometime, that are more likely that you won't sell, then you trash it because unattractive products, and then offer more item services related to the bestseller. Okay? Pursue unique marketing strategies is number 3. If your business is experiencing a steep drop in sales, there must be a reason, and it could be that your marketing techniques are simply not effective as you thought, because everything is in your marketing. Okay? Think about marketing your business online, like we talked about earlier. Okay? And then get the word out. Take advantage of social media. You guys got to get on there. It's millions. I didn't say thousands, but it's millions. Excuse me, it's billions. Okay, let me put a B. Billions of people out there. And what we have to stop doing is thinking locally. Okay? The world, if COVID didn't do nothing for my business, it opened up my mind to the world. Okay, I had to stop thinking. I love Virginia Beach, the city of Virginia Beach. I love the city of Chesapeake. I love the city of Norfolk. And I'm naming those industries that I've gotten contracts with, right? But guess what? I love the federal government. They're everywhere. They're in New York. They're in Germany. They're in everywhere. They're everywhere. I didn't think small. I thought big. And that's what social media can do with you. These people are just not in the Hampton Roads area. They're all over the world. And if you're offering a something that you can sell online, guess who can buy it? People all over the world. Okay, not just here in this area. Okay, and I know that radio advertisements, commercials, billboards, and flyers, they all will work, and some of them, they don't work as much as you like them, but they're so expensive. But sometimes, guess what, y'all? It's good to go back to the old school. That's why I went to DPC. Yeah, you know me. Oh, that was my jam. Okay, but door-to-door marketing is just as effective. And let me tell you, I have a 9-year-old, and guess what she loves to get? Mail. We are so, all we do is look at our emails, right? This little girl want mail. She want real mail. She wants to go to the mailbox and open up the mailbox and pull something out with her name on it. We don't do that no more. I even asked a young man to send me a letter. Do you know that he didn't know how to put the return address in the top right-hand corner? She's laughing. Did that happen to you too? The right-hand corner. He didn't know how to address a letter. And he was 23 years old. They don't know. Look at, this is my girl right here. They don't even know what a stamp is. You're exactly right. It's so sad because we don't do that anymore. People would love that. Don't throw that out the window. Get a mailing list. With your email list, make sure they also include their address and send them a card just to tell them thank you. That's powerful. Okay? And put a coupon in there with a product that you have coming. Don't throw that at the door. And you know what? Those things work. I like when I get little hooks on the door that tells me there's a new pizza place in town. Okay? Because guess what I do? I call it. Try to find out about it. But we don't do a lot of that anymore. But door-to-door marketing can help. By using these strategies, you can boost sales and increase the revenue of your business. Once these strategies have been implemented, there will be no need to worry about how you're going to pay the next bill. You'll finally have the money to live the life that you dreamed of. But you got to be down with who? Yeah, you know me. Okay, my name is Latrece, and again, thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, we got the lady. Okay, go ahead. She said she got 3. Was that a 3 finger? Okay, go ahead. Do you want the mic back? Does anybody, or can she? Oh, okay. I like walking. You're good.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, when you were talking about, was it affiliate marketing or association? Is that similar, the same, or different from consignment? From selling products on consignment?
Selling products Okay, they're making me stand behind the box. Okay, selling consignment is usually a physical product, and it's pretty much similar to that. But affiliate marketing can go even beyond that. You can actually sell online. And then what you can do, even in consignment, you could take it to another level. If you actually have a product that you're selling in consignment, use the internet to actually sell that as well. Okay, and then you'll be able to get the actual profits from whatever you make from that because you have a wide range of people who you're selling it to. But it is similar to that. It's similar to that. You're welcome. Any other questions?
Which one do you think that people should use first?
It all depends on what your business is. A lot of times what people don't do is they don't connect with their niche, which is who their target audience is and who they're trying to serve. Because your people who you're trying to serve may be on Instagram. Somebody else's may be on Facebook, okay? Or they may be an older group of people that you're trying to reach. So I wouldn't say go on Instagram and sell your product if you're trying to reach an older generation. I tell you to go and mail them a letter. Okay, because they'd want a letter instead of that. So you really have to identify who you are, who your business is, and who it's trying to reach, and then look at those strategies and pretty much put it in a, try to probably put it on a list and just go from chronological order. This is who I'm trying to reach, so this will work for them. This is who I'm trying to reach, and this will work for them. But what I would tell you right now is to evaluate where your business is. Literally, evaluate where you are and where you want to go. And then look at all of those strategies and then figure out your best way to get there. I can help you do that. Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? Yes, Jeff. Jeff raising his hand.
Thank you, Latrece. Great content and some great ideas there for folks. But I have to say, with a last name like Hammer, I've got to use that I nailed it piece. So.
You did. You were like, I got that. I'm gonna wear the shirt and everything. Yeah. That was a good one too. That was good. No problem. You can have that. And it's known now. It's right. It's on video, right? I told him he could have it, right? Any other questions? That right here, my friend Eve.
When it comes to finding out where people are, like, say you figured out already who your ideal clients are in your target market, their age range, all of that. How do you figure out where they're going to consume the most content, or like what's going to be the best way to reach them? Like what strategy works best for them, like doing a market analysis in that regard?
It's the survey. You remember I talked about doing a survey? And the thing is that you can actually, you know how people do Facebook ads and you see all these ads pop up? Yours can pop up as a survey. And a great thing, let me tell you, Facebook has this thing called Ask Facebook. Has anybody heard of that? Where you put Ask Facebook, and what happens is Facebook, it triggers them. It actually will come up in red. And then you ask a question. So guess what you just did? You just have access to billions of people, and you're asking them a question of, what do you think about red curtains? I'm just naming some. And they go, okay, I don't like it. So now you have a survey that you didn't even have to pay for, but you got billions of input. So my first suggestion for you would be to do a survey to actually analyze where your people are and what they need. You know, I literally have a group. I do a lot of Facebook groups, and I usually target certain people in a certain type of profession who want certain answers, and I ask them, what's your pain point right now? That's the biggest question you can ask your client. Once you know what their pain point is, you can actually help them. Okay, but I would suggest that you start, since you know who you want to be and connect with, since you know who your niche is, it's time for you to now ask them what they need. What is the pain point? So I would start with a survey. Okay.
I want to thank you very much for all the information. You answered all my questions, and then you gave me some really great ideas. So moving forward, when I leave here, are there books what book would you recommend for someone like me? And the second part piggybacks on what you just said about the surveys. So I have this dilemma. You know, I hired a business coach, and they said to do A, B, C, and D, but some of it didn't resonate with me. So I feel the videos sometimes could be too long, like an hour and 15 minutes for a video to me is just way too long. So a survey question like that to my Instagram group would be great, or on Facebook, correct?
Look at you.
I mean, that's powerful.
She down with DPC. Yes.
You know me.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
You
Thank
did exactly right. Well, I would suggest, I do have something for you today. It's called a survival guide for small businesses. And inside of that, it goes through every step that you need to take of different things that I've talked about today. It kind of goes in depth because I only got 30 minutes. You know how it is. But I would suggest that for you. And give me a call. I would love to talk to you for free. Okay? I would love to talk to you for free. Free consultations. I love those. Okay? Anybody else? Oh, there's a question right here, this gentleman.
So, my question is, are there any downfalls to partnering with an expert, partner with an expert in that field? I own 2 TV stations on Amazon. I also have a media company that does music and stuff. So I partnered with an expert, and some of my trade secrets they actually took. Oh. So how much should you give away when you're partnering with an expert, to build your brand?
When I'm referring to with partnerships, I'm not as in detailed as Jeff, where I'm going to sign stuff over and we're going to cut a deal. What I mean with partnerships is like what I said when I'm talking about like a sandwich shop meeting with a cupcake shop, and you say, would you like to give some coupons to my people? I give some coupons to your people, and then you get a cupcake and a sandwich instead of just a sandwich. Or, for instance, I partnered with some of the greatest coaches in the world, literally, to secure a $1.2 million contract with the government, okay? But it was my company, and I used them as subcontractors. Okay, and I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more on the panel discussion. So it keeps you in control. And so a lot of times what people do is they partner when they should actually subcontract, okay? That's a big difference. Am I right, Mr. Jeff? Yeah, so, okay? And then they save you keep your brand, you keep everything, it's you. They working for you, okay? Anybody else? Any other questions? This was so awesome. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Latrece McKnight, for all of that. I mean, just like the young lady said, you answered all of her questions because it was just so much. It was a wide array of information. I remember free. I wrote down determination, persistence, and creativity. You see, I'm taking notes because many of you may not know, I'm also a small business owner. Now, I know you see me as a council person, and yes, that's a full-time job. That's not part-time work, that's full-time work. And so I'm taking all this information in so that when I do focus on my small business, I will know how to grow my small business, market it, and make sure that people have an opportunity to know what I do. Because I'm sure right now they don't really know. They probably just say, oh, she just does council work. But I do more than that. I do. So thank you so much for sharing that information with us. And I want to prepare for our panel discussion. So those of you who are participating in a panel discussion, please feel free to take your place on stage. And as you take your place on stage for the panel discussion, I'm just going to go over just a few items, maybe housekeeping items, maybe and some announcements. The panel discussion is going to talk about one of the most important and one of the favorite topics that I hear from business owners, and that's contracting. People want to know, how can I get a contract with the city of Virginia Beach, or with another locality? How can I get a contract? Well, this is not this particular topic, but with the federal government. It's important that you know that there are other ways for you to grow your business than just by doing business out in the community. You also have opportunities for contracting. So this part of the session will talk about the nuts and bolts of contracting for micro businesses, because contracting for micro businesses may look a little bit different than contracting with larger businesses, larger organizations. And this particular panel came up by one of our participants that's here, Mr. Gerald Daniels. He talked about, hey, small businesses have questions about contracting, and we want to know more about it. And so for that reason, we have that panel discussion, because I know there are others who want to know more about contracting. And so just a few housekeeping issues. Ms. McKnight talked about surveys. How many of you, did you get an agenda when you came in? So if you have an agenda, you should have a survey on the back. It should be a survey. Oh, no, it's not on. Okay, well, there is a survey, and I need you to fill out your survey. So Tiffany's going to tell me more about the survey.
We do have the option for you to write in after today's event, or there's a clipboard going around for you to sign in, and I'll send you that electronically. So we have both options. If you are able to provide feedback today, that would be lovely, but I'll also send that to you later today. Your choice.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
The feedback is so important, because when I talk to my colleagues and those out in the community, and they want to know what does the Ignite Business Series, what does it do? How does it help small business owners? I need your feedback, number one, to make these experiences better for you, but also to communicate how Ignite is helping you and helping your business, your small business or your local business grow. Also, the next Ignite Business Series that I will focus on will be for entrepreneurs, specifically young entrepreneurs, kidpreneurs, teenage entrepreneurs. There's so many young people out there with ideas and thoughts about being business owners, and I've met quite a few of them, and they ask me, could you have something for us? And so the broad theme for the November Ignite Business Series will be for entrepreneurs, but it's going to focus on our kids and our teens. So please be on the lookout for more information about that. And then I'd also like to make sure you know about a future opportunity with the Vibe District. I'm working with a partner in the Vibe District, and we want to make sure we're providing opportunities for our small businesses down at the ocean front. And so as I gather more information and details, will probably be in August, later on during the summer, we'll put out opportunities and announcements for people who would like to be a part of that opportunity. You can certainly reach out to me, let me know that you're interested in the opportunity. You certainly can email me, wootensabrina@gmail.com, or reach out to me by phone, 757-797-5625 for more information. But I'll be working on that opportunity, and as I get more details, I'll provide it for you. So now, without further ado, we're going to get started on our panel discussion. And as we do that, and as I take my seat, I would like our guests for our panel discussion to start by introducing who they are, and I guess their role, if you're with the City of Virginia Beach, or what your role is. And you can turn on your mics. And as I take my seat, you can get started with introducing.
Well, hello, everybody. Wow, I just met you guys for the first time. No, I'm just kidding. My name is Latrece Williams-McKnight, and I'm the president and CEO of McKnight Williams and Associates, which is a leadership and business scaling development firm here in the Hampton Roads area.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Key, and I work for the City of Virginia Beach. I'm actually the purchasing agent for the City of Virginia Beach. So what that means is that any purchases that the city makes that fall under the Virginia Public Procurement Act, which is most of our purchases, I'm responsible, myself and a team are responsible for making sure that those are done in fair and open competition and in accordance with the laws and rules of both the Commonwealth of Virginia and the City of Virginia Beach.
Good morning. My name is Lavira Tolentino. I am the SWAM program manager with the City of Virginia Beach. And my role focuses on letting our small business community know what programs exist for small businesses when wanting to contract with the City of Virginia Beach. We do have quite a few SWAM initiatives there with the city. So that's my office's role, and we're happy to assist any small business here today that has questions for us after we have the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you for those introductions, and thank you for being a part of this discussion today. As you all may know, we can't do anything in the City of Virginia Beach without staff. What you see here today is a collaboration with staff, a self-service, a sacrifice for them to be here today and to make sure you get the resources and information that you need to grow as a business owner. And so I'm going to start with a general question, and then we'll take some questions from the audience because this panel discussion, like I said, is for you. So in terms of contracting, most people just, they want to know how to get a contract, with their municipality, with the City of Virginia Beach. Now, when I read Ms. McKnight, when I read your bio and I saw how you were able to get $1.2 million as in contracting opportunities, that just really blows my mind, but it's possible. It's doable. Now, will everybody get 1.2 million? Maybe not. But I think if you want to start and you're interested in pursuing contracts, this is a way, thank you, this is a way that you can learn a little bit more about that process. So I want to start with you, Mrs. McKnight. Can you just tell me a little bit about how you were able, in a pandemic, secure $1.2 million worth of contracting opportunities?
I got to think of this as Zoom, mute and unmute. Okay, well, what I actually did with my company, I was in search of different ways to market my business. As a business coach and someone who teaches marketing, I'm a firm believer that you have to continuously grow, because the only level that my clients are going to get to is whatever level that I am at. And so as I began to search and do some great things, I went through SWAM certification and all these different programs, but I kept seeing something that said WOSB. WOSB. Well, I wonder what that is. And so it looked like SWAM. It smelled like SWAM. But what is it? And so when I dug deeper into it, I realized that it was women-owned small businesses, but with the government. And so I went on SAM. SAN.gov, and I registered my company. Once I registered my company, I realized that they were looking for women like me and women in my business. They were looking for small minority-owned businesses to work in the government. If a lot of you may know that the government has set aside some huge money for small businesses, especially during the pandemic. And so I began to put my information in, and as I put all of my information in and what my company was doing, they began to reach out to me and they began to ask me questions. Do you guys do diversity training? Do you guys do leadership training? Do you do because there's so many things that are going on in the country right now that there is a need for such a business like I have. And that's one of the things that I really understood was that when there's a need for what you have to put yourself out there. You have to stand out from the crowd. You may think that you're something different. You are something different because you were meant to stand out. And I began to just write back to the companies and share with them. And then I partnered with different companies because there's huge companies out there who would love to have subcontractors. I don't know where my gentleman went, but I have subcontracted with other companies, and then I became a company then who then subcontracted. What I went in did, I learned the game. And once I learned the game, I use my company just like they use theirs.
Okay. Thank you. And I think that's a good overview of, your experience in contracting. And since, I have these two wonderful ladies to either side, I would like to know, because I always get the question from, small businesses, are there, in terms of micro businesses, is there a difference, in terms of contracting, what you're looking for, within the city of Virginia Beach? Are there specific criteria that you're looking for? And how would someone connect with finding a contracting opportunity with the city of Virginia Beach?
So I'm going to take that one, Lavera. And I would like to say before I answer that question, if it's okay, thank you, Councilwoman Wooten, for the opportunity to share with these businesses. Part of what makes Lavera and I's job easier and presents more success to our leadership is enhanced competition, is bigger numbers of businesses putting in competition. That's how it works. And so when I get one or two companies, and a lot of times we get one who's replying to a solicitation that we have out or a request to do business with the city, it's a little bit disheartening for us, and it kind of defeats the competition purpose. So we enjoy doing these events because we're trying to encourage folks to get out there and as you said, learn the game, because there is a little bit of game to it. The processes are complex because we're government and it's your money. So we want to make sure that all of our T's are crossed and I's are dotted, and that makes for a complex process. But once you figure out that process, life can get better, and I think that's what we're talking about today with that question in particular is how do you do business with the city? And how do you know what business can be done with the city? And we are listening, we are hearing through or events such as this one, and in other ways to figure out, and City Council has been super supportive in figuring out how it is that we can engage you guys and where we're losing you, where it's too complex, where we're not being clear. So from a micro business standpoint, just this last year with council's support, the city is able to use the micro business designation. The state has had that option for quite some time. The city had not. And so that is new. Right now, we don't have any legislation at the city level pertaining to micro business, as it's something that is something that is new to us to be able to use. We can track that, however. We'll use the definition that the state uses for micro business right now to track those, as we don't have any additional information. But we did ask and had been asking for several years to be able to use that designation, and with council support in the city's legislative package, that was something that was determined we could use. We do have a SWAM office that works in conjunction with the purchasing office to engage small women and minority-owned businesses, including micro businesses. If you have questions about how the process works, how to get into it, where to look, what to do, they do an enormous amount of outreach and are available to you for appointments, to call, to come in, to ask questions if something gets complicated. And they do right now, I don't know how many events and trainings and educations Lavera has up on her office's website, but it's always numerous. And with some of our trainings and educations, we get, numerous people, 40, 50 people. We have literally taught those classes for one. With COVID and with small businesses, we know things change. So if we have one scheduled, we'll go ahead and give it. But those are good ways to get started and demystify that process. And if you do see a solicitation that you want to respond to, and those are posted now on the city's website, if you go to the city's website, vbgov.com, click on business in the header at the top, it's kind of to the left. You'll get a drop-down menu. One of those options is doing business with the city. If you click on that, you'll come to a supplier page that talks about how to sign up with the city as a supplier so that we know, doesn't mean necessarily that you'll get a contract, but that we know that you're there, and we send notifications of solicitations through that system to you. So if you log into that system, you can see what's out there, but you don't have to log into the system to see what's out there. There are 3 boxes. Log into your portal, register if you've never been there before, and solicitations or bid opportunities. If you click on that, the system automatically feeds that website for you. So the moment the solicitation pops up, it goes right to that page. So our IT department has that working. Thanks, Kevin. Has that working very well. So we know those things pop up. So if you're watching that page, if that's, I don't know how you do it. I have certain times a day that I check certain things. I would add that to my list. When we have solicitations out there, that's a beautiful way to see what's going on. We also have a forecast opportunities list that the SWAM office puts up that says, hey, here's some things that are coming. We may not know exactly when we're going to have those ready, but they are available for you to see and kind of know to watch that something might be coming that's interesting to you, or that's something that you can help the city with. And that's basically how getting a contract with the city gets started.
Thank you.
If I could add to that. So as Rebecca, stated, our city council here in Virginia Beach is committed to increasing contracting opportunities with SWAM businesses. And as some of you may not know, we did have a disparity study conducted with the city of Virginia Beach. And Councilwoman Wooten, along with the other city council members, asked that we implement all of those studies, the recommendations from the study. And one of those recommendations was a sheltered bidding ordinance. And what that is that it's specifically for businesses that are SWAM certified. And when we say SWAM certified, we are saying SWAM certified through the Commonwealth of Virginia's Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity. If you're not SWAM certified through that office, I highly recommend that you become SWAM certified. It is free. I'm going to use your term, Latrece. Everything we offer at the city is free, and you need to take advantage of those things for your business growth and development. But sheltered bidding pertains only to SWAM certified businesses. It's like a set-aside program. And so what we do is when we have something that falls under that particular ordinance or procurement, the solicitation will go to SWAM certified businesses, and as long as we get 2 or more quotes or bids back from those SWAM certified businesses, then we are able to open an award hopefully to one of them. If we don't get 2 or more, then we have to open it to everyone. So it limits the competition just to our SWAM firms. And so I want you to keep that in mind, and I hope, like Rebecca said, go to the site, look at the solicitations we have out there, and we have solicitations that range from under $5,000 to over $1 million. So there's a broad spectrum of things that you could possibly bid on.
And I'm going to bounce off yours, Lavera. If you're not sure about what SWAM initiative, particularly something like sheltered bidding, if you're not sure if that solicitation has that, it says that right up front in the solicitation. So if you click, there's a spot where you can see what it is, like we're buying water. And it says, we're looking for $5,000 or 5,000 bottles of water. There's a link that says you can click on the details and get more information if that's something you're interested in. And when you click on that, you'll be able to see if that is something like a sheltered bid, and it will give you instruction on how to do that. And then because that is Lavera's office's role. If you have questions about how to meet that, or do you meet it, or I'm not SWAM certified, but I do now see these opportunities, and I'm a little confused as to how to get started, she and her team are ready and waiting to assist with that.
Thank you, ladies. And I'm glad, Lavera, you focused on SWAM, because I was getting ready to ask someone to kind of talk about those qualifications and how you become SWAM certified. And as mentioned, a lot of the programs that the city offers, they are free. But if you don't take advantage of those opportunities, then you won't be able to, partake from the benefits. Also important, I think, to note is you got to, put yourself out there, as Latrece was saying. You got to put yourself out there. There are times that, you might try something, you might bid on a contract and you don't get it. Well, don't stop. It sometimes when we don't get a yes, sometimes it bruises our ego, and and sometimes we take it personal, but we shouldn't, because you have to try again, over and over, sometimes again, and it's okay. You sometimes, people may get a no, several times, but does it mean that you should stop the process? No, you keep going, but you also get the feedback that we've talked about earlier. Feedback is really important in the contracting process. And so I would ask our panelists, Rebecca and Lavera, to kind of focus on, if you don't get a contract, how important is a debriefing session? And as we go to that question, I'm going to make sure that we have time for questions from the audience. So I want to make sure we prepare for our questions for the audience as we're answering these questions or this question, and then we'll go to our audience for questions.
Sure, I'll start on that debrief, that question there. So say you submit a bid or a quote for a particular solicitation that the city has, and you are not awarded that particular contract. And I highly recommend this for anyone. Even if you are awarded the contract, I highly recommend that you request a debrief. That's what we call a debrief. And so what's going to happen during that phase is that you're going to schedule an appointment with our procurement office, and you're going to ask that you see all of the solicitations that were submitted, and you get to see where you fell within, how somebody else's solicitation compared to yours, or how their bid compared to yours. And you get to see the dollar values there. And we have public bid openings anyway. So whenever there's a bid opening, you're welcome to come to the purchasing office, submit your bid by the time that's, stamped on there, and then you can hear and see what bids were submitted and the dollar values. But a step further is the debrief, where you can actually come in and you can even look through those solicitations those bids that were also submitted. So that's where the debrief lies. It does take place after the award, however, so there is a time frame that we can offer a debrief. Like I said, even if you are awarded a contract, I recommend you to look at where, how much you were, you were the low bid, but see what the next high bid is, to see if you left any money on the table. It's not going to change anything, however, but you can at least view that for the next time around. Rebecca, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I will, and I'll actually use Latrece here, because it's part of the game, right? Understanding that there's a debrief, particularly we do majorly, usually, and not always, but the major solicitation components we use are the bid, where the bid or the quote, where it's low price. We tell you what we want, you tell us what to get, what you can give us that for. And we take the lowest price, because if I can define exactly what I need, I just want it as cheaply as possible. But a lot of our solicitations are best value. And that's probably what something like her service is, where the city's looking for the best value, the best outcome. What can we do best for the city? And those are not determined solely on price. Price is a factor, but it's not the only factor. And so if we didn't select you, and as Lavera said, even if you did, particularly in those best value competitions, it's really important to understand and get a feel for what was it. If you're going to try this again, what was it that they were looking for? Because maybe you had it and you just didn't tell us, right? Or maybe you had it, but you didn't sell it in a way that we heard it. Maybe it was buried in a different section. Maybe it wasn't laid out just like and we missed it. Maybe you said it, but another vendor said it louder and put pictures in it. And so learning that sort of piece and understanding what did land a contract and what didn't is very important to your business. It is free information about why you didn't get it and someone else did. So I would highly recommend you take advantage of that.
Thank
Can
you.
I? Oh,
Yes.
Can I? I just wanted to piggyback off both of you, beautiful ladies. One of the things that I did when I was putting in these contracts was do plenty of debriefs. And what I mean by that is, like they said, I didn't get every contract, but I wanted to know why. And a lot of times it was paperwork related. It was not what I wrote, but it was the BOA information that I did not fill out, that I did not know I needed the blank order yet because I didn't have the contract. So I didn't know I had to fill out the BOA agreement before then. I didn't know that I had to include all the questions that the other vendors had asked in the contract. It was just little things that were missing. And so as I learned through the debriefs what I didn't do, then once I received the contract, it was because I actually did everything right, but I only knew because I went to those. So those are so important to do.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And, just thinking back to my experience as, a business owner with my firm, which is a mediation firm, I remember responding to a RFP. And I remember looking at the information, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I said, you know what, I'm going to take a shot. And I filled the information out, answered the RFP, and I did. I got, that contract, and it was just, I remember thinking, wow, how did I do that? But I say that because you may not know how to do everything, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. And if you try and you don't get it the first time, that's okay. Go to the debriefing sessions, ask questions, and see how you can improve on your process. Because one of the things, and I'm not saying that this is the case every time, but when you're working through a process and things may not always work out the way you want, you always have to remember that you are the person or the element in every process, and every time you apply, you're the key element. So what can you do better to address not getting that contract? Maybe a paperwork, and maybe you could do better in enhancing the way you responded or promoted your talents or your gifts or your product. So just really want to encourage you to just really try that process. And if you don't get it the first few times, don't give up. Don't walk away from the city of Virginia Beach and say, well, city of Virginia Beach is a city of no. No, we don't want you to think that. We want you to know that we, as Lavera has said, we're here, to help. We want to encourage you to do business with the city. And, specifically, our small women, minority, and service disabled veteran-owned businesses. And so with that, I want to open up questions to the floor because I know you may have questions. And, after this session, we'll have a break, and then we'll come back for our featured speaker.
Same thing. It's that you had mentioned debrief session. So is it a documentation that's presented, or it's an actual session that you would attend?
So what it is that you can bring in your documentation. I would strongly suggest you bring in a notebook and a pen, or, if you, iPad or what have you, but you want to take notes, because what's going to happen is you're going to be allowed to sit at the table with those bids, or the bids that were submitted with that particular solicitation you submitted your bids on. The other thing is that you have to submit a bid in order to be debriefed. So so that's the other thing. If there was a contract out there for, I don't know, like Rebecca said, water bottles, if you don't submit a bid or a quote, then you can't have a debrief. So if you do submit, you come in, you sit down, you can look at every single bid that was submitted. You can go through the documents. They're documents. It is paper. You go through the documents. You can look at it, and you can look to see where you may have fallen short, or or if your bid was a little higher. You can kind of look to see what kind of things that the other company was offering that you didn't offer, or their experience level and that kind of thing. So it is not a document that we hand you, but you can document what your findings are there.
And if I can add to that a little, and this is part of the game, this is how we do business, and we do it within the confines of codes and laws, and so we don't just have debrief sessions. You have to request it. So make sure you request it. And if it's a best value and not a bid, most of the time we have the evaluation committee there, and you can ask them questions and discuss what they saw and what they thought, and you can have their sheets of what their comments were about, if they had any, and what scores they gave you in each section. Because the solicitation will tell you we're gonna score these things, and then you thought you did really well on that thing, and you see your score and you're like, gosh, what did I miss? You actually have the opportunity to converse with them. And the reason we don't do it as a session is because somebody mentioned the trade secret piece. Do you really want to discuss that detail with your competitor sitting next to you? You don't. And so in order to make the most out of that debrief, where you really can have a good conversation about that, we do those generally one-on-one, so that you're not in there with another group of folks, because you're going to be limited to what you're willing to ask, and he's going to be limited to what he's willing to ask if you two are sitting side by side.
What is the typical time frame for the debrief to be available?
Generally, we wouldn't say no to a debrief for anything, assuming those evaluation committee members still work for the city. And also, I would think you would want to do it relatively quickly, because you want them to remember what they were looking at, and you want that feedback pretty quickly. But as Lavera stated, it's after awards. So, little quick tip, if I may. When we do these solicitations, particularly for the best value, there's generally something that comes out, and it's called a notice of intent to award. So you have the opportunity to question us and say, wait a second, I think this wasn't right. And we don't always tell you about that, right? So, although in Lavera's sessions, we go over that. So if you want some of these tips of the trade, we talk really candidly about that, because it's your process. They're your laws too, right? They're built in for a reason. So we issue a notice of intent to award at the point that we have all signed off, and all the paperwork's there, and the city says, look, I'm going to award these water bottles to this company. And you bid on them as well, so you're going to get, and you need to be watching for that when you know the award's kind of coming. It's posted, and the solicitation will tell you where it's posted, but it's posted on the solicitation website, it's posted in the electronic system, all those things. So once you turn in your proposal, you still kind of want to be listening to what's going on. We post this notice of intent to award that says, we intend to award this to her company. And the clock starts ticking for you. You have 10 days to protest or question what we've done, right? And after that 10-day period, and I can show you where it is in the law if you want to read it yourself, because honestly, you want to be aware of some of these laws that kind of where your rights are. So you have 10 days to question that. we're not going to debrief you during those 10 days. But you do have the opportunity during those 10 days to write a letter, to email us, to say, hey, I think you might have made a mistake here. I think she didn't turn in a piece of paper. I think that my price was better than what I'm seeing you turned in for her. Those sorts of things, because we're human. Mistakes happen. I haven't seen it here, knock on wood. But in my previous position, somebody made a math mistake. And they really were cheaper, and we just messed up. And so you want to make sure that you kind of raise your hand during that time if you feel like it was not appropriate. Once that is over and the award comes, that's when you can start asking for that debrief. So that's when you would know you won. Really, as a proposer with the city or a bidder with the city, you really want to be aware of those notice of intent to award dates, and know that if you're like, no, I don't know how she'd get that price, but I can't compete with that. You can wait those days and then say, it should have been 10 days, 11 days, calendar days. I can now ask for a debrief, if that helps.
Oh, thank you. Good morning. As a minority-owned business, and micro, really, I took the advice of affiliating myself with bigger partners. And when you identify needs, let's say the city has a need, but it hasn't solicited it yet. It doesn't know that the need is there, but you affiliate yourself with people that can support that need. As a SWAM, as a minority owner, what's the best way for me to approach the city from a procurement perspective and highlight things that are needs, but perhaps the city doesn't know that the needs are there? I mean, the procurement shop doesn't know that the needs are there yet. And I'm just a small business owner, but I have the bigger affiliates that can help me with the support, but it's really the relationship of speaking to the city.
So, one, to the city, you're not just a small business owner. And council's made that really clear, and we are on board with that. So you're never just in our world. In fact, we get real excited when you're not a just, because we have to present our numbers and the work we've done to council, including Councilwoman Wooten, and she holds our feet to the fire if we're not making sure you're not just. So, no, you're never just with us. In fact, a lot of our programs are designed to make sure that you do have that opportunity. Couple of things with that. Purchasing and the purchasing office, and while we're here to guide you in the SWAM office as well, can get you signed up in the portal and help you with that. So I would certainly visit the SWAM office and let them help you get registered with the city and fill out all the information so that we are, engaging you and letting you know what's going on with the city. But ultimately, when the solicitation comes out, someone in the city, not purchasing, has determined a need. And so once that department determines the needs, let's say it was, I'm making this up, it's Parks and Rec, and they're after this water bottle. So what happens is once we get this need going, they actually send a request to purchasing that says, will you start the process? Will you get us somebody who can do these things? So one of the things you want to do is reach out to the departments that you believe have a need for something that you have to make sure that they know that exists. The other thing you can do, and there's a formal way to do that, and there's only so much they can do, right? Because they can't just buy it from you. They have to come through purchasing. But knowing that that exists and kind of getting it on their mind, as the marketing piece, you need to get in front of those who are actually buying what you're selling. And that's not me. I'm just helping the process through, right? The other thing you can do, and this is not, I think, super well known, but it's very, very important for those of you, especially the entrepreneurial mind with these really unique ideas. There is something called there's a PPEA, right? And there's an act about that, and it's public-private, partnership thing. But what you can do is under that law, which says a whole bunch of stuff you probably don't care too much about. But under that law, there is an option, and the city has a process by which you can turn in something called an unsolicited proposal. If your idea is unique and you believe the city would never ask for it because we don't even know it exists, and those things happen, Our leadership and council had the foresight to say, we know that happens. So instead of you having to sit back and wait for us to tell you we need it when we don't even know what you do exists because you're on the cutting edge of something, you can turn in an unsolicited proposal to me, to my office, and say, here's what we offer. Here's what we can do for you to solve a need that the city has that you don't even know you have. And then there's a review process for whether or not we're going to go through with that, and does it need to be solicited? If we do decide to go through, does it fit the requirements? If you would like to email me, and anybody can do this, and I noted when Councilwoman Wooten said it, she gave you her phone number. That's dedication right there. I'm going to give you my email. It's RKEE, like Rebecca Key, KEE, at vbgov.com. That's vbgov.com. RKEE, vbgov.com. If for some reason that doesn't work and you wrote it down wrong, the main purchasing number is 757-385-4438. They can get you to me, or they can get you that documentation. There is actually a written process that you would just go through to do something like that, and we would certainly share that all day long with you. We love those.
And I know there's a question over here, and as you get the question, I'm going to interject a question from our online audience, and I do want to say thank you to those who are participating online. You know, you were not quite able to get here, but you're participating online, and I appreciate that. And so the question from our online participants, the question is, what is the criteria for being SWAM certified? And before I ask Lavera to address that question, I want to say to you, do not pay to have someone help you with this. Don't do that. And you are able to become SWAM certified for free. That's that word again. We hear it's free. Don't pay for the service. So, Lavera, could you provide more information on being SWAM certified?
Sure. The SWAM certification that the City of Virginia Beach utilizes is through the Commonwealth of Virginia, the Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity. And we do have a representative from that office. That office is actually located in Richmond. However, we have a local representative here in Virginia Beach. And so if you contact our purchasing department, our SWAM office, that's the same number Rebecca gave you, the 385-4438 number, we can get you to that person that will assist you with your SWAM certification. So the criteria is you have to be a small business, meaning 250 employees or less, or $10 million in revenue over a 3-year period. In addition, there's a paperwork that you do have to submit for that SWAM certification. You do have to have a business license. You do have to have tax information. However, if you are a new business, they can waive some of the tax information or the requirements that they would normally ask for you because you're a new startup business, so that some of that can be waived. But the best thing is to contact us, and we will get you in touch with that representative that's here. And like I said, she will assist you with getting that documentation. And it all can be uploaded through the system. You never have to go to Richmond. Don't think you have to go to Richmond because you don't have to do that. And she is very good. Her name is Angela Barber. And she will assist you with getting all of that documentation into the system and getting that certification processed. There was a time when the certification did take a while. But they have actually sped up that process, and probably between 60 and 90 days now, you can be SWAM certified. And I would really encourage you, if you're thinking about doing business with the city, it's not a requirement to be SWAM certified, but I would encourage you to become SWAM certified. I think Latrece talked a little bit about being a subcontractor. A lot of our ordinances that deal with increasing those opportunities to SWAM businesses or SWAM certified businesses, they do require you to be SWAM certified. So don't wait until you see an opportunity there and say, oh, it says I have to be SWAM certified. Get on that bandwagon now. Don't wait too late. It's better late than to start it now. And that certification does last for 5 years.
Thank you.
Good morning. Basically, you just answered basically my question that I was going to ask. I was going to ask, by becoming SWAM certified with the City of Virginia Beach, would that also have you certified with the state of Virginia as being, SWAM? As you just stated, with the Commonwealth of Virginia, I believe, if I understood you correctly, once you become certified in SWAM, City of Virginia Beach, whatever the case may be, you are also certified, if I understand you correctly, with the Commonwealth of Virginia, the state of Virginia.
So if you become certified, the Commonwealth is the certification agency. So you want to be certified by the Commonwealth of Virginia. And then we automatically look at that certification as you being a SWAM certified business. So you want to do it at the Commonwealth level. Okay? And let me give you another little tidbit on that. Becoming certified at that state level, that means that all the localities in Virginia honor that certification. So not just Virginia Beach, but the neighboring localities as well will honor that SWAM certification.
Thank you. And we're going to take one more question, and then we're going to give the audience an opportunity to take a break and then come back for our last speaker. So one more question.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to verify when you say small businesses that nonprofit organizations are also included in that, as far as being available to either enter with SWAM or to also get contracts through the city.
At the state level, they do have a criteria for nonprofit. Again, that would be a question for the Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity. As far as handling nonprofit certification, and I know they do certify some higher educational institutions, but they have a whole set of guidelines for that. So the best way to get that answer is if you can contact me directly, and I can give you Ms. Barber's information, and she can walk you through that and let you know if it does apply to those nonprofits.
Thank you for that question, and thank you for the answer, Lavera. And so we are going to give you an opportunity. You've been so great paying attention and here early. I want to give you an opportunity to take a small break yes, there's one more question.
No, I was going to say, greetings, everyone. As you're walking out for break, can you please pass me back the survey sheet when you're done?
Okay, thank you. And so thank you so much for that information. And so as we take a 15-minute break, I want to make sure that you have a chance to talk to the vendors here and across the hall. Make sure you go across the hall to get a beverage or something to eat, to snack on. But come back. I said about 15 minutes, so maybe about 11:20, 11:21. Come back because our next and final speaker is Dr. Karen Pruden, and she is the career elevation expert. You don't meet many of them out here in the business community. I don't want you to miss what she has to say. So please come back. Meet us back here at about 11:21 to make sure you hear from our career elevation expert. Thank you. Well, almost afternoon. I guess it's still morning. Feels like afternoon. Good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. I hope you had an opportunity to kind of take a break, stretch your legs, get some refreshments, talk to some people. But we want to go ahead and close out our event with our final speaker. And I'm so proud to introduce to you Dr. Karen Hills Pruden. And Dr. Karen Hills Pruden is an award-winning career elevation expert for female middle managers seeking senior leadership. Recognized by the Governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam, for her leadership in equity, diversity, and inclusion. Dr. Pruden has over 2 decades of experience in human resource leadership, influencing employees through global speaking, coaching, workshops, and authoring 10 books, many which reached the coveted spot of #1 Amazon bestseller. One of her hottest publications is Pruden Principles, 10 Strategies to Propel Women to the C-Suite. Dr. Pruden works as a Chief Human Resource Officer for Norfolk State University, CEO of Pruden Global Business Solutions Consulting, and she is the CEO, founder of the Sister Leaders Conference that will be coming up, I believe, in October. Yes, and I hope she'll tell you more about that later. Dr. Pruden has been interviewed on The Kim Jacobs Show, Believe in Your Dreams Television, Roland Martin, Unfiltered, Making Headline News, ABC, NBC, and CBS affiliates. She has been a featured speaker at the Virginia Society for Human Resource Management, Society for Diversity, Black Wall Street, SpeakerCon, Black Brand, Virginia Commonwealth University, Norfolk State University, Global Fluency, Empowering Her, NAACP, Peninsula Chamber of Commerce, and Greater Williamsburg Business Council. Dr. Pruden serves on many committees and boards throughout Hampton Roads. So let us welcome Dr. Karen Pruden, the career elevation expert, to the mic.
Awesome. Can you hear me? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I am so excited to come behind Jeff and Latrece because I co-signed so much of their presentation. So you're going to hear some of what they said, and then you're going to hear additional information because, again, what they said can indeed take your business to the next level. So fun fact about me, I have on these glasses. I can't see with them, and I can't see without them. So you'll see me put them up, put them down, put them up, put them down. So just bear with me. But let's go on. So we're going to talk about 10 things that you can do to propel your business to the next level. And some of those things are going to be systems, which you heard a little bit about today, websites, planning on your part, risk-taking, not a whole lot of conversation about that, SWOT analysis for your business. Some of you may be familiar with SWOT, but we're going to talk about it in relation to your business. And finance, you know, I want you to also have a romance with data. That's my saying. In order for to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to love data. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So in terms of me, just like you, I wear a whole lot of hats. So I'm all of those things in addition to wife, mother, awesome grandmother. Being a grandmother is the best thing. Awesome grandmother. And I'm Sister Karen at church. So how many of you have about 3 or more titles in addition to entrepreneur? Raise your hand. Right, right. So this is going to be quite interesting because you certainly need resources in order to assist you in juggling all of those titles successfully, such as myself. Those are some of the people that I've had the privilege of partnering with, working for, consulting with, and so let's talk about the basics. infrastructure. Hopefully, most of you have this infrastructure in place, your vision, your mission, and your core values. Your vision equals your mission plus your purpose and your core values. How many of you have your vision and mission established? Your mission. You know the mission of your business. You can tell me the mission of your business right now. Anybody want to give me your 30-second spill? Who has their elevator pitch? Okay, there you go. Sorry, she's going to get the mic for you.
Okay, here goes my really quick elevator pitch.
Okay.
So if you yourself or someone you know happen to be dealing with something we like to all hate together, and that's called pain, that's what I specialize in at the Manual Therapy Clinic, is holistic pain management. As most pain management happens to be invasive and cumbersome and expensive, I like to implement the manual therapy treatment, okay, which is very non-invasive. It's very comforting. Most people tend to like to deal with that. So musculoskeletal issues, sciatic nerve pain, even depression and anxiety, anything that causes you that type of tension, I am the go-to professional expert for that. I have a bachelor's degree in healthcare management and administration, which is a little overboard for somebody who works in my technicality, but I am also specialized in manual therapy as well as other types of holistic pain management therapies. Thank you.
Awesome. Yep. Exactly. Or who do you know that needs my services? You need a call to action. But the reason why I ask about this infrastructure, which is your vision and your mission, is you need that information to know who your ideal client is. And you heard that earlier today. And your ideal client will be the person who speaks to your vision and your mission, the purpose of why you establish your business, and the needs and the services, the needs that you address, and the products and the services that you offer to this ideal client. And so you want to make sure that you have all of those things in place prior to all of the other things that you've heard today and that I'm going to talk about as well. So hopefully most of you have that. If not, you want to make sure that you have your purpose, which is your why. Why did you start your business, or why do you want to start your business? And then you want to make sure that you have your mission, which is your what. You know, what you're going to accomplish. For Pruden Global, my vision is to demystify the senior leadership role for thriving business owners. Thriving business owners and senior leaders in corporate America. So demystify the senior leadership role, and I take that a little further because I work with them on leading people, leading change through the use of analytics and technology. That's my whole vision. That's the whole breakdown. And you should be able to say it to anybody, anywhere, any day, because everybody is a potential client in order to take your business to the next level. You have to walk around this earth virtually as well as physically with the understanding that they may not be a customer or a client today, but they may be a customer or client tomorrow. And so you need to be able to articulate that. So once you have your infrastructure in place, one of the things that are near and dear to my heart is systems. And so Latrece kind of took my phrase that I use a lot, but I'm glad that it resonates with other individuals. Do you make money in your sleep? If you don't have anything set up to make money in your sleep, then you're missing an opportunity for your business. And I challenge you, no matter what product or service that you offer, there is something that you can do that can allow you to make money in your sleep. And so if you are not using systems, you are possibly limiting the growth of your business. And obviously we want to grow. Grow will allow us to do more of those things that we want to do to help people, to establish to help our mission and our vision. And so your goal is to have individuals either signing up to stay in contact with you or to be able to purchase your products and your services even when you're not there, even when you're not present, even when you're asleep. And so you want to focus on automation. Automation, you want to make sure that you have certain systems in place, systems for bookkeeping, systems for your customer relationship management. Latrece gave you a whole list of free, and they are truly free resources that you can use for different things. But you want to move towards automation because I am a micro business as well, and I'm a global micro business. There is no way that I can be a global. I sell my books in 11 countries. There is no way that I can sell my books in 11 countries without automation. I sell a lot of ebooks and I sell a lot of physical books that actually travels into countries. So you want to expand your network, expand your customer base. You want to operate as if there are no borders. And that's what automation allows you to do. How many of you have a CRM, a customer relationship management system? Emails, MailChimp, Constant Contact, Infusionsoft, Keep? No, not a lot of you. So some of you, that's an opportunity for you to tap into so that one, you can have ongoing communication with those who have done business with you and those who are considering to do business with you, because I look at everyone who hasn't done business with me, they're considering to do business with me. So you want to stay in contact with them on a regular basis and let them know what you're providing, what you're doing, what new service you have, what existing service you have. So you want to use some type of way to stay in contact with them. Even if you don't have a CRM, I recommend that because you can schedule ahead a whole bunch of emails out while you're on vacation. You could be on an island in the Bahamas and have emails going out letting your customers know what is going on with your business. But if you want to do old school and do groups and Outlook, then do that, because I believe you have to start somewhere. Agreed? Agreed. So how many of you have e-commerce in place? Anybody selling automation? A few hands? Okay, so that's another opportunity. So e-commerce, commerce, selling, money, cha-ching, PayPal, email notifications, Shopify notifications, all type of notifications means that your products or your service has sold. And so you want to utilize systems for that. So invest in systems. Technology and data are near and dear to my heart because one, it allows me to do a whole lot. All I have to do is take the time to program it in. It allows me to stay current. I can add people to my email database as I meet them. And the program I have, all I have to do is take a picture of the business card and it automatically slides them into my system, so I don't even have to, and that's like gold to me. So you want to use systems to make your life more easier. You want to use systems for anything that's repetitive or that you feel is monotonous. If it's a way that you can automate it, why not automate it if you don't like doing it? It still gets done, but you don't have to do it. How many, something happened. How many of you have a web page or a website? Many more hands, many more hands. So who visit your website? What time of day do they visit your website? How many times do they visit your website? How long do they stay on your website? Do you have the answers to those questions? If you're reviewing your analytics from your website, you can. You can see who is visiting, how long they stay. Obviously, you'll be able to tell whether or not they purchase, but the ones who purchase, you got them. You want to know about the ones who browsing. You want to know about how long they're browsing, what particular page on your website, if you have a website versus a web page, you know, what particular product they're looking at. What time of day are they looking at that product? That's what you want to know, because what do you do with that information? You market based on that. If they are looking on your website between 3 and 6, then your other areas of marketing, you want to push through 3 and 6, because that's for your particular client. That is the time they're most active on the social web. So you need that data in order to inform you about decisions. There was a report in The Economist that stated the world's most valuable resource is no longer oil. Any idea what replaced oil? Data. Absolutely, data. So data is more valuable than oil. Data is something that people are paying to get data. So you want to utilize the analytics that you have that are associated with whatever social means that you are using for your business. Also, if you are collecting information manually, you want to make sure that you do something with that information. If your customers are coming into your establishment manually because you haven't purchased systems yet, how do you know when was the last time that Miss Karen came into your business? And what did Miss Karen buy when she came into your business? How much money did she spend? What is the average amount of money that your customers spend? What products, add-on products, are your customers more likely to buy? Have you ever tried to buy something online and it says, you go to checkout, and it was an awesome deal. It was like $9.99. And then it said, but wait, before you check out, you can get this for $27.99. And you was like, oh, I need that in my life, $27.99. So now it's $37.99. And then it said, wait a minute, before you check out again, we have this for $5.99. So all of the upsell or that's additional revenue. You need to know which of those products can speak to your customer if they are buying additional products other than what they originally intended to purchase. And you can do that through automation. You can do that through manually as well, keeping track. If you know that I came in to buy a chocolate cake in your bakery, I just came in to buy a chocolate cake, but you were able to sell me chocolate cupcakes as well, and you were able to sell me a gallon of milk in addition to that as well. You can manually track that information, but you need to track that information so that you know what to put forth your marketing and your financial resources. You don't want to continue to buy, or I believe Latrece mentioned, store stuff that's not selling. And so on your webpage, bounce rate. Do you know what a bounce rate is? I gave you the definition of it when I was talking. When someone comes up on your page and then leaves, that's a bounce rate. You need to know that. One, you will probably want to know what brought them to your page the first time, because that's good, because they came to your page. But two, why did they leave so quickly? And so bounce rate is very good information. Page visits, again, is good information depending on product and services. If you have 1 or 2 products per page, you know what they're looking at. And then the average time on the site. So here's some interesting data, because I'm going to geek out on you for a minute, so just bear with me. So 81% of shoppers conduct online research. So what does that tell us? We need to have an online presence, right? 81% is pretty high, wouldn't you say so? How many times have someone stood in front of you and said, hi, I'm Mr. and Mrs. Business Owner, and they give you the name of their business, and because we think we're all multitask pros, you start putting in their business on your phone. You already have their website on your phone while they're talking. We do that. Research. 96% of visitors to your site or page aren't ready to buy anything. Did you hear me? They just cruising, they just window shopping, but what does that tell you? 4% of the people that come to your page are ready to buy, and you want to capture that 4% and make sure that they go through checkout. 96% aren't ready to buy, but wouldn't it be nice to convert part of that 96 into that 4% because of what they saw on your page? You can do that based on what's on your website and how it's laid out. Make sure it's uncluttered. Again, Latrece mentioned some of that stuff. You want to make sure your processes are user-friendly, your automation are user-friendly. You want to have a call to action on your page. Buy here. You don't want them to have to search all around the page to try to figure out how to buy it. No, you want to give them a big dial that says purchase here, buy here. If you want to know more or something, a call to action on your page. It's interesting because I'm a big consumer. I see your hand. I'm a big consumer, so I'm also a curious consumer, which is good for entrepreneurs because if you tell me click here, I probably didn't plan on clicking there, but I want to see what you was going to offer to the people who were interested if they click there. So I click here. And if it's something that I didn't even know I wanted to buy, probably don't need, didn't know that I needed, more than likely I might buy it because I got a shopping problem too. So you want to tell the people who come to your webpage what to do. You want to have a call to action. You had a question?
Bad information. They put their website out as soon as they got their business license and, was trying to get things started, but they were not able to start right then because it was, some more things need to be learned. So I'm thinking now in hindsight, they need to take their website down until they're actually ready to, I'm going to say, go live 100%. Because if people are going up there clicking, I'm thinking, and they can't get the service they want, I'm thinking it's giving you a bad look.
Well, I have, full disclosure, I'll be 55 in a couple of months. I've had a business since I was 18. And what I don't do is to tell people how to run their business. But what I do, that sounds crazy, right? What I do is I say, if I knew that person, I would say, hey, the repeat rate for someone to come up on your website when they didn't find what they were looking for the first time, it goes down drastically after the first visit. Why don't you wait until you have product or services so that they can have something to look at and click on? But I wouldn't come outright and tell them to take it down. Because again, I'm not one to tell people how to run their business, but I do like to share with people the advantages of considering certain things and then let them make the appropriate decision for their business. As a coach, that's how I operate. I don't tell my clients, even when corporations bring me in for training, I don't tell them what to do. I provide them information and the data, the success data, or maybe not the success data, of what happened if they do that action, and then let them make the decision. So I hope that's helpful. That's how I do it. And then you can also maintain the friendship if you do it that way as well. All right, so want to make sure that your web page and your website is easy to navigate. Make sure you have a call to action. Another thing I want you to consider for your web page or your website is that right after you complete business with someone, not sure what product or services all of you have, that is the best time to ask for a review or a recommendation. While they're still riding on how wonderful you are, how wonderful your product is, how wonderful your service is, that is the best time. If you had a CRM, you can shoot them an email and say, hey, hopefully you're enjoying blank product, blank service, or it was a pleasure doing business with you. Please take a moment to write a review or a recommendation for me. Send them the link, because I believe in making things easy for people. Send them the link to do it, and I can tell you my success rate, and other people who I know who employ this method, success rate is about 90%. But you need to do it within 7 days of completing business with them before life happens for them again. Also, if you put those reviews, recommendations on your website, it's helpful for other people who are visiting your site looking for the same, or it's just like somebody co-signing your business. So employ that, use that technique so that when people do visit your webpage or your website, they'll have the reviews and the recommendation of previous customer or clients. And a lot of times, you just let them freehand it. They'll freehand it. I will share with you this one thing. Make sure you edit it before you put it on your website, because your website is very reflective of you. And so if they misspell a word, correct the word. And I'm an integrity person. And so I will make the corrections and say, hey, I posted this on my, thank you for your business. I posted this on my website. Notice you had a misspelled word. I changed it. Here's a copy of what's on my website, so that they would know that I changed it. But that's up to you whether or not you do that. But that I do that because, again, your brand, website is a small part of your brand. And I know a lot of people don't think that. They think that's the major part of their brand. But really, you and how you do business is the major part of your brand. The quality and value of your goods and services is the major part of your brand. Your website makes it easy for you. It makes you have a longer reach, but it's a very small part of your brand. Because if you can have an awesome looking website, but if you don't return calls, if you overcharge, if you just do all kinds of other things that people do not find as consumer friendly, then your brand sucks. Does everybody understand? For lack of a better word, I kind of flip in and out with all this education. Drives my mom crazy. She's a retired school teacher. Drives her crazy. So to move quickly, because we have a short period of time. So you also need to plan to grow. So when you have those systems in place, how many of you have a business plan? Awesome. So 50% of businesses using digital marketing have no clear strategy. They're just posting stuff on social media, don't know who's looking at it, don't know nothing unless a sale comes through. So your business plan allows you to be proactive in what you want for your business. It allows you to be proactive about the goods and the services that you plan to offer this year, next year, or the next year. It could be 3-year business plan, 1 year. I just need you to put it in writing. But I usually have my clients work with a 3-year in the beginning, and then we massage it quarterly based on looking at the results to make sure that we're on task. So some of the things that you need to consider, even if you don't have a formal business plan, you want to current products and services, future product and services that you want to offer, compatible product and services that are compatible to your business that you're thinking about branching out. You want to be able to forecast your financials, and your financials are not just your income. Your financials also your expenses. And then what makes you unique is also good to include in your business plan. There are 10 other beauty salons within a 10-mile radius of your beauty salon. What makes your beauty salon unique? And what you plan to do to market to your ideal customer because of your uniqueness. How do you plan to act? And then your ideal customer. Who are they? Gender, income, age, race, what type of job do they have? Where do they hang out virtually? Where do they hang out brick and mortar? And speaking of brick and mortar, competitors. You need to know not only your brick and mortar competitors, but your virtual competitors. You know, when I'm dealing with my clients, and that's the one where they give me the deer in the headlight look, and I love it. So they'll tell me, oh, Joe is da-da-da-da-da, he's over in Chesapeake, or so on. Okay, so who are your virtual competitors? Huh? Who are your virtual competitors? How many times have you saw something you wanted and went up on Amazon to see if they had it cheaper? We are working in a virtual world. Our reach has expanded because of internet. So your competitors are not just somebody within a 5-mile radius, and you need to know. You need to also be kind of auditing and seeing what their prices is and seeing what they're offering compared to what you offer if it's a similar or same product or service. Those things actually do go into your business plan as well. And then the qualifications of yourself and your staff would go on your business plans and any investors or stakeholders. Some of these things you don't have to have in the very beginning. If I had my way, if you're just getting started, I want you to consider products and services, new products and services, and financials, and what makes you unique. And you also need to know your ideal customer, because otherwise, who are you marketing to if you don't know who your customer are, or who customers are, and where do they hang out? So plan to grow. Business plan to grow. So we all want to be bigger, right? No? No? Yes? Yes, we want to be bigger. As we grow, I just want to remind you that cheaper is not always better. As we are small, sometimes we're looking to save money. I am someone who likes quality over price. Now, I'm looking for a good sale on the quality product, but I don't do cheap. And so as a small business owner, part of your growth is to not have to buy the same product, equipment twice because you went with cheaper. So do your investigation, do your research, do your homework into the equipment that you need, the products you need, the vendors that you use, so that you won't find yourself duplicating contracts, equipment purchasing, and different things, all because you went with cheaper. So just remember, cheaper. So plan for emergencies also is part of your scaling. So I have two daughters who have businesses. They're both micro businesses. And planning for emergencies, I'm gonna tell you one of the situations. I was talking to my daughter. We talk every day. And so, hey, how you doing? I'm doing fine. She was like, Mom, I had to buy a printer last night. Oh, okay. So I'm in listening mode, and she said, my printer broke down. Now, her business is contingent upon her having a printer. It's now non-negotiable that she has to, she prints stuff. That's her business. She prints stuff. And so she had to run out and buy a printer. And so as she was talking, she said, I had put money aside for the printer. And I'm like, whew, check, because that's what I was looking for. You got to put money aside for emergencies and contingencies. If your business needs a printer, otherwise you can't operate, how do you not have money put aside? The best case scenario to me would have been to have two printers, but you know, I'm just saying, you know, but she had the money, so she ran out and she bought this, and it's a specialized printer because she prints labels and stuff. And so you want to make sure that you have, and if you're thinking about growing, getting to the next level, when your equipment goes down or something goes down, you need to have money set aside or backup equipment set aside for those unforeseen situations. Because not only will it mess up your operations and your estimated delivery time for your products and services, it can mess up your brand. Because the businesses that you do business with, my daughter's business does business with businesses. So if her delivery time is not on point, their delivery time is not on point. So your brand can also be impacted if you don't put monies aside for those unforeseen situations. So when you're focusing on scaling and moving up to the next level, keep all of that in place when you're thinking. Equipment. What talent are you going to need to go to the next level? Do somebody need to go take a class or learn how to operate a different machine? money put aside for those things that you don't already have in-house to address those unforeseen situations, equipment failures and different things like that. I'm assuming, I'm a service-based company other than the books, but I can tell you that for delivery, for a lot of my books was impacted by COVID. What normally would take, in stateside, would take about 4 days for them to get a book. Somebody had a book that arrived 3 weeks later. Just regular mail, 3 weeks later. And so what do you do in situations like that? So just something to think about. This is an interesting visual. What do you think about it? How many of you like taking risks? Wow. Oh, one hand, and that went up slowly. It's like, I like taking risks. So if you want to get to the next level, you're going to have to jump out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to probably do something you haven't done before. Maybe invest some money that's larger amounts that you haven't done before. And so to get to the next level, if your goals don't scare you, your goals aren't big enough. If they don't scare you, they aren't big enough. What makes it less scary is, I want you to lean on the planning part of it. You know, the planning part of it where you're talking through everything, writing everything down. This is what I want to do. This is how much money I need to do it. This is the ideal customer. This is where they hang out. If you do your homework on the planning part of it, a lot of times us as entrepreneurs, we want to jump to implementation because we're trying to cha-ching, make money. And we don't spend enough time in the planning part of it. But if you do enough time in the planning and the research part of it, then you will have accounted for all of the unforeseen, possibly unforeseen situations that can come up in the implementation. But if you don't spend enough time in the planning part of it, now you have to stop when things happen and figure out how you're going to address it because you never even considered that it could happen. So consider that when you're thinking about going to the next level. You want to think about your people, your processes, and your technology. And technology is your equipment as well. For me, my big goal, I have a big goal has been that after over a decade of talking in other people's conferences, helping other people with their conferences, sponsoring conferences, I decided I wanted to do my own conference. So I don't do Zoom parties. That's not what I do. I do money-making ventures. So I'm not talking about everybody that's jumping on Zoom and having a good time. No, I'm talking about profit-making, money-making virtual events. And so that is the type of event that I am holding in October, which is Sister Leaders. So I don't have anybody else to build the infrastructure. So it's kind of risky. So I'm looking at systems and processes, and it's not Zoom, by the way. Not for the type of conference that I'm holding. It's not Zoom. Speakers, vendors, sponsors. I'm also doing a few local events that are going to be piped into the virtual conference. Since the world has opened up a little bit, they're going to be small. So that takes a certain degree of technology, marketing, just all kinds of stuff. All me. Very risky. Lot of money. But I've already did the financials. I've also partnered with someone who's called the Butts in the Seats Queen. That's her nickname, because she has a reputation of creating money-generating conferences, even virtual. And so partner with the experts. I think you heard that earlier. So if I'm going to take this calculated risk, and it is calculated because I put it in my business plan last year that I was going to do it this year. So I hired the experts, but I have all these other things that I'm responsible for. Is it scary? Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love to just be a speaker, get up there and give me the mic and walk off like 30 minutes later. But also it fits in with my goal, which I am all for collaboration, and I am pretty much allergic to competitive people. So my brand is I collaborate with women for their success, with entrepreneurs in order to create thriving businesses, with women in corporate America for women who want to be in the C-suite. That's one of the positions I hold. I can give them the tricks of the trade. I tell all of the secrets. I write books. I do webinars, all of that stuff. I tell everything. You know, if you want to be in the C-suite, this is how you get in there. If you want to be an entrepreneur, I need you to know how to lead people, lead change, be in love with analytics, use technology. Same competencies, two separate groups. I specialize because I only work with females, because females are still disproportionately representative, at least in corporate America, in the C-suite. We are the fastest growing population with entrepreneurs in terms of gender. We're outpacing the men left and right in terms of, but the data swings back because, again, only 50% of the new businesses are still in business and making a profit after 5 years. So although we're starting businesses, somewhere we don't have the infrastructure built correctly so that we can sustain. So I want you to start and sustain your business, which I think is everybody's goal, right? So don't be afraid to take risk. How come this is, okay. I love technology. So forecast for intentional growth. This really, I just want you to be proactive. You know, be proactive in terms of your planning. Spend more time in the planning phase. The goal is to kind of set yourself up for your proactive conversations, thinking about your products and your services, thinking about the next level equipment you may need, figuring out where your clients hang out. And then I also want to share with you this tip. I have 5 tips for an enhanced data-driven decision-making strategy. And forgive me if I have my head down for a minute because I just wrote them down a few minutes ago. So define your goals before collecting data. I love data, but don't look for data to confirm what it is you want to do. Collect the data from the client base that you know that you're trying to reach and then just see how it reads. You know, don't try to cook it with your gut. A lot of times we want to do something, so we look for data to confirm what we want to do. No, you just want to find the data and then read it for what it is. And then also you want to use data to find any unresolved questions. If you have a question and you don't know the answer to it, do a deep dive online or through a book or calling someone who's a subject matter expert to get the answer to that question. So use data for unresolved questions. And then also don't be afraid to revisit the data. Just because it looked this way this year, I mean, just think about the people who had data, forecast data. In 2019, people were forecasting what was going to happen in 2020. And then the pandemic hit. Hopefully they revisited everything that they forecast and figured out how they could pivot. Most people pivot virtually, but what is it that how they can add to their products and services in order to address that unforeseen situation that happens. So don't be afraid to revisit the data. You need to know where to put your money and your resources. And your time is a resource. We all get the same amount of hours every day, 24 hours. I'm up late and I get up early in the morning and people like, what the what? Because I'm known for sending emails. Like, you don't have to read it, but I'm going to send it. I have to get it out of me. As one who wears so many hats, I have to. That's how I get things done. As I get older, I'm more mindful of my health. So my goal is to get more hours of sleep. And I suggest that you also, because a healthy entrepreneur and a profitable entrepreneur live on the same street. So you need to think about your health. And then also about your data. Continue to use data over and over again from year to year. That'll help you with your forecasting. Please do not forecast with your gut feeling. I used to say, I had a feeling. I got a feeling. I had a feeling. I don't know where that was coming from. I was raised in a church, so my mom would say, there's only 1 or 2 places it's coming from. But okay. So SWOT, I mentioned it earlier. Anybody know what SWOT stands for? What does SWOT stand for? Okay, great. So what are the strengths in your business? What can you build on? You know, what is the one thing your business brings to the table that others do not? That's your strength. You know, focus on what you do best. Again, I think Latrece mentioned this earlier, and I'm confirming it. You know, if you are the best widget maker in town and you decide that you want to make a widget maker cover, well, you're gonna make widgets and a widget maker cover if you're my client, because how dare you give up the place of being the best widget maker in town. Do what you do best and then add on complementary stuff to it, but continue to do what you do best. And even when you're considering new products and services, if you're gonna sell widgets, the patent to widgets to somebody else, whole different game. Because then you're selling the rights to them for them to make the widgets. You no longer own the rights to it. But if it's something, a product or service that you have fine-tuned the quality and the efficiency of how to make that product to the point where you have gotten a title that you're the best in town, you don't give up that product. Or you don't give up, you can sell it, but you don't just give it up because you decide you don't want to do it anymore. So you want to have complementary products. So those are all your strengths. So your weaknesses is you can overcome them by proactively talking about them and thinking about them and talking to people who are in the business and finding out what they went through. So continual research. If your weakness is more money, then maybe you need to kind of plan out the things that you're going to invest your money in and how much you're going to invest your money in for your business. If your weakness is, your business weakness is that you don't have enough customers, then you need to do some research to figure out where are your customers and you need to go get more customers. If it's that people aren't buying your products and services, then find out what are they buying that's very similar to what you offer and what is it offering that you don't offer. I have took all kinds of coaching classes from other coaches because I want to see what they're offering. How do you know what you're up against if you never even step in the lobby? I do it all the time. I don't sneak in there. Some people like social media stalk people. I don't have time for that. I put my name and my credit card in there. Boom, I'm in class, front and center. Let me see what you're offering. Because then you'll know what you're up against. Same thing, if you offer services or products, if you offer products, if it's a brick and mortar place, go be a customer. Buy their product, flip it around, look at it. Try to figure out where they got it from. Figure out what they added to it. Figure out it might not even be something they totally created. Maybe they bought a piece from somewhere and just customized it. But you can't make yourself more innovative and competitive if you don't know what your competitor's product and services look like. Has anybody ever bought something from their competitor? Great. Yeah, made me scared there for a minute because y'all hands go up slow. I was just like, strong yes. Just a strong yes. All right, so we're moving towards the end. So opportunities, you know, what opportunities can you seize or create to enhance your business? You know, we often don't see opportunities that are right in front of us. And sometimes opportunities come in the form of casual conversations. They aren't very formal. If someone takes an interest in your business and what you do, and they ask you to follow up with them, and you just thought it was a casual conversation, you have no idea what opportunity was on the table that they didn't tell you about at that time because it might not have been the right environment. So your follow-up game has got to be tight. Follow up, because sometimes opportunities are right in front of us. And then make sure that you evaluate your time, effort, and money that's needed to take advantage of any opportunities. If you don't have the money, if you don't have the time, it might not be best for you now. Sometimes fear is what determines what we say, I don't have the money for. It's not that you don't have the money for it, you can shift some things around. But because you're fearful of taking that next step. So make sure that it's not fear that's making you say, I don't have the money or have the time. Just make sure it's really not that time. And then threats that you can be facing, again, you know, outside factors limiting your business. If your business is contingent upon other people's products and services, U.S. mail. If you mail stuff to your customers or clients, your service can be impacted by that. U.S. mail, delivery services, anything. If you buy bags from a certain place and you have the best bags in the world, but then all of a sudden that place go out of business, then what? So look at the threats and think about ways to minimize the impact of those threats. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because I think Jeff did an awesome job on that, but I want you to be financially wise and keep your eyes on the bottom line. Be a lover of receipts in an organized way, not just in a bag in a corner somewhere waiting for tax time. It lets you know what you spend your money on. Somebody was, look, she can't even stop laughing when I said that, because some people really do put their receipts in a bag in a corner, and then tax time, they go to their accountant. Here you go. Here's all my receipts. But how do you know how much money that you're spending on what if you don't do it in an organized way through some type of system, QuickBooks or something? And I'm not getting paid by QuickBooks, but some type of system that you regularly update your expenditures as well as your revenue, so you can have an idea of really where you are. And if you're someone like me who still I still have my foot in corporate America and I still have my business, then you need to have separate accounts so you really know what your business is making, and you need to know whether or not your business can afford certain things, and don't commingle your money between your personal W-2 job and your business. So you want to have separate accounts so you can see how much money you're really making in your business. Plan. Your largest amount of time should be in your planning phase. And I mentioned earlier that most businesses want to jump straight to implementation. I used to be that way until it cost me some money. So unfortunately, I'm the type of person that pain is the best lesson for me. And so I don't want you to have to learn that way. Don't be so hard-headed. You know, believe me when I say spend more time in the planning phase, and that will save you headaches, money, and time. And here's a bonus. A little bit about branding. I said earlier that your brand is not your website. Your website is part of your brand. Just know that how you do business, the quality and the value that you give in your product and services, that is your brand. You are a walking, talking billboard for your business. Sometimes micro businesses get so hung up on the infrastructure. Gotta have my website, gotta have my business cards, gotta have this, gotta have that, and don't even return phone calls. Aren't billing people correctly and timely. Aren't following up on meetings that you have with an email saying, hey, thank you for taking the time to meet with me. Hope we do business in the future. Keeping yourself on someone's radar. You are your brand. And if you decide you want to do something and it doesn't work, go another way. Try another way. Step back from it. Talk to somebody who's been down that path. And then if it's something you really want to do, keep at it. Take a detour, but don't tap out. Because entrepreneurship is a long game. It's not a short game. It's a long game. There's some lulls in this lifespan with entrepreneurship. Different things can throw you a curve. So hopefully your business is also part of your purpose. Because if your business is part of your purpose, you'll be able to push through it. You know, you will take a detour instead of just stopping. You can, you will elevate your business to the next level. So I have a couple of books I've written and authored and or co-authored 10. I brought 3 that are relevant to today. The 3 that are relevant for today are Entrepreneur Elevation, 31 Strategic Lessons and Personal Stories from Purpose-Driven Entrepreneurs. There are individuals just like yourself who press through, Courageous Enough to Launch, ironically, Latrece and I are co-authors in that book. How cool is that? So, Courageous Enough to Launch, Stories and Strategies of Everyday Women Who Face Their Fears to Launch and Grow Thriving Businesses. I am all for collaboration, so if you're interested in that book, go buy it from Latrece, okay? I'm in it, so you get me too. And then I have Pruden Principles, 10 Strategies that Propel Women to the C-Suite and Step into Leadership Greatness. Leadership isn't just a title. What questions do you have? Yes.
The planning stages and the actual implementation, because sometimes I feel like I spend too much time planning and not enough time out there putting myself in front of everybody, especially during COVID. I was planning. Well, I'd love to hear what you, and thank you very much for your presentation. I did learn a lot, as much as your co-author over here. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. You're really nice. So I would say there is a phrase that's analysis paralysis, I believe is the phrase. It's not my phrase, but I've heard it. And so just be careful. Try to snap yourself out of it and just say, I need to do something. I need to make a decision. So you have to, there is a thing as staying too long in the planning phase if you really are just procrastinating. The whole spend time in the planning phase is that you want to do your full research about what it is that you're about to embark on or what it is that you're about to do, so that when those unforeseen situations come up, you've already talked about how you were going to handle them. But it's not for you to just hang out in that. So if you're just hanging out because you're not really sure if it's something you want to do or something you should do or something you're scared of doing, then snap yourself out of it and just say, I need to make a decision. And make a decision. When it comes to your business, I trust your decision when it comes to your business. You know your business better than any of us because it's your business. And so after you have spent a significant amount of time in that planning phase, if you find that you're in that paralysis stage, make yourself move forward and see what happens. Nope, because our businesses are so different. And you're considering so many different things. I mean, you could be considering money, you could be considering talent, you could be considering processes, not having efficient processes, technology, maybe you don't have the right equipment. I don't know if I really want to do this, but I quit my day job. It's so many different things that you can be considering that keeps you in that planning phase. But I do believe that if it's meant for you to move on, you can say to yourself, okay, what's your name? Ev? You can say, Ev, because this is what I do. Karen, make a decision. So you say, Ev, make a decision. And make that decision and just move forward.
Look, your books you just had up here, and you had the one Elevation, I believe.
Entrepreneur Elevation.
Yeah. What would you say? What were you saying about that? Because I missed that. Because
it's 31 stories. Hold on. It's a subtitle. There you go, quizzing me. 31 strategic lessons and personal stories from purpose-driven entrepreneurs. These are entrepreneurs who they hit something in their journey, they addressed it, they had that paralysis, but they moved through it. And they're talking about what they use to move through it. It could be finances, it can be all those things that I mentioned. But these are testimony of people who still have businesses and they move through it.
Was that just for females, or was that for people in general?
It's the book, all of the stuff. Business is business.
I know you were saying business.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm a female coach, but this book wasn't just for females. If you come over to the back, I'll look and see who's up there. But believe me, business is revenues, products, services, expenditures. It doesn't matter whose name is on the paperwork as the ownership. It's whether or not you need it. So the competencies are the same. And although I am a female coach, most corporations bring me in to speak to all of their employees, and they don't let the men take a day off. But I appreciate your sentiments. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, Sabrina.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pruden. And I just want to say thank you to all of our presenters today. You were absolutely outstanding. I could not have asked for a better group of presenters and speakers. You're spot on. So thank you so much, Mr. Jeff Hammer, Latrece McKnight, and Dr. Pruden. Thank you so much. And I hope that everyone was able to glean from this information as well. Thank you to everyone who participated. Thank you, very special thank you to our staff that's here who provided sound, IT, and coordination. I really appreciate all that you do. If I don't tell you enough, I want you to know I do appreciate you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and end our program because I want you to get as much chance as you have to talk to people, network, and talk to the vendors. But I would just like to remind you to follow up with me. November, we're going to focus on the next Ignite Business Series on entrepreneurship and kid entrepreneurs, teenage entrepreneurs. So please spread the word and follow up with me if you have any questions or concerns. There's also the opportunity in August that we'll be working on with the Vibe District to get more small businesses out in the ocean front as well. So thank you again, and I hope you enjoy your afternoon. Please fill out the survey. Here's just another note. Please let us know what you think. Provide your email at the front table in this suite. Miss Mabinti can help you with that information. So thank you, and thank you, Miss Mabinti, for being here. You've been so diligent. Everyone have a great afternoon and a wonderful weekend. Take care.